everyone. We're doing WLDL 2026. This is an exciting new spin around the sun. We're back with some fun tournament action. With me, I've got Mike, aka Sneeze.
Hello, hello. Very excited. Thank you for doing the heavy lifting and streaming because I don't have my shit set up. So even if I wanted to cast, I couldn't.
Fair. Yeah. This is great. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's always fun when WLDL starts up again. I think this year, I'm not sure. I guess the trend is that people always register at the last minute anyway. But
Mm.
when the announcement came out and everything, like it was kind of slow in the first 1.5, 2 weeks. But then I guess everyone was just trying to gather the troops, and now we're all here.
That's kind of be expected, right? Get the team together. No, we need 6 people this year on a roster, and trying to organize schedules and everything. It's always last minute, but we made it.
Yeah, we're here now. We have the Deckers versus Backstreet Boys. Insanely good name, by the way. And I love the fact that they bothered to. This is what always stands out to me. The people who bother to edit their like team flags
Yeah.
and stuff, they're already a leg up.
They-
The second sign is if they're in like the same guild. That's what I'm looking for. That gives me the confidence, like they play pubs together, they're always talking. Sometimes, you got some free agent teams, of course, they are excluded from this criteria. But overall, I'm looking for that unity. That gives me confidence.
Yeah. Do they assign each of their players to a particular Backstreet Boy? Is that what I'm saying?
I I don't know what the green buttons are. They look Dota related, but the only thing I can think of when I see that color scheme is find match. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know what that's supposed to be. We're gonna need a
Zoom. We're gonna have to do
upscaled version.
Yeah.
Requested from the
Switch
team.
to
But of
high
course,
resolution.
Buyback Street Boys, Super Nintendo Chalmers, Bill Sif, RIP, Bear, and Rex Cow. I think these are some very familiar names to people who have been in WLDL for a long time. And similarly, on the other side, Deckers, Soft Moon, Strilling, Comedy Bronze, Four Fates, and Four Beats. So some of the team members that were from my team actually last year, Savory Characters, we weren't able to sort of put together a stack this year. So now they've actually combined with Strilling, who was our grand finals opponent. And then there's a whole new stack altogether. So this should be pretty fun, very familiar faces, and a pretty fun match to watch, especially if you're a WLDL veteran.
It's good to see different players jumping on different teams and fighting against each other, because that they start to get that intimate knowledge of each other's gameplay. So to
Yeah.
start to use that against each other is fun to see.
Yeah, speaking of intimate knowledge, you already can see some of that knowledge being employed, right? Buyback Street Boys, they know Strilling's gonna come out with some nasty shit. She's always up with the micro heroes. I'm not surprised to see maybe a Chen or something funkier come out. They've already taken out the Enigma, Beastmaster Visage, all these summons heroes, and I guess also heroes that do very well into the Warlock that they've opened the draft with. Pretty safe, doesn't really tell us anything. Meanwhile, Deckers, they're looking to play a bit faster paced, right? Starting off with that tiny, even if it's regardless of which role it goes to, honestly, either 2 or 4, maybe even a pause 1, but just feels like this is a hero that wants to get kills rolling on the map.
Mhm. What do you think of drafting in terms of like choosing lanes? Is there kind of trends that you've been seeing lately?
Yeah, I think in general, I mean, obviously, like if you're drafting for an amateur league, depending on the MMR, compared to, let's say, a professional game, it's very different. I think a lot of the times drafting, there's a lot of intricacies with, okay, when do you pick your hero in which phase? Because, like, let's say you pick this tiny, right? You only have one band to protect it, that kind of thing. But when it comes to WLDL, for the most part, the trend seems to have always been players trying to secure what's comfortable for them, right? It's less important that you're necessarily countering out what you see on the other side. I feel like when you dip too far into that, we've seen teams kind of make that mistake.
Mhm.
Oh, they have a healing hero. Let's pick AA, even though nobody in our team
Mhm.
plays it. Then
Mhm.
that's kind of where you start to fall, kind of trip yourself up. So I think, especially in these first few weeks, until the teams start to get a bit more comfortable with each other, like you mentioned, Deckers sort of joining forces and not typically playing together. There's going to be a lot more individual team expression compared to trying to counter each other out. But Backstreet Boys, they start things out pretty tame and then they go straight into a Viper. That is disgusting.
Mhm.
Only 10
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Viper in the meta lately.
5
The
seconds.
kind of the
Hurry.
new build on it with the Agnum Scepter. I've been seeing a lot of. It's been nerfed though, right? It's been nerfed in the last patch.
Yeah.
Feel like they moved
So
the
they
talents
made
around a
it
bit.
so that the facet itself, like getting the double effect on corrosive skin, takes longer. So basically, they're saying Viper's got to take a longer shower before he becomes the Stink King, right?
Good way of putting
It
it.
helps a little bit. I mean, Deckers, their plan is just to burst heroes down at the moment, right? You got Tiny Lion. These heroes are going to jump in, try and get a pick off to start the fight. I think the hope is that they get that done before the Warlock and the Dark Willow now can drop their ultimates, because the team fight is looking pretty scary from Backstreet Boys.
5 seconds remain.
Is there any comfort heroes that you see on these players you've seen before that you were expecting
I
to
mean,
come out?
straight up, Lion, Comedy, Bronze, that is his hero, 100%. I have no doubt about it. I don't know much about the guy. I've seen him around a couple of different WLDL stacks. I've never seen him not playing Lion. I don't know what other heroes he plays, to be honest. He's always on the Lion. I'm surprised he didn't get banned. That's where I'm at.
That's that kind of like insider information that you want to know when you're going up against teams is what's their comfort picks.
Yeah, there's definitely a few characters in the league that are like 2 to 3 hero Andes, and that's not to say that they aren't good at any other heroes. It's just they're so absurdly comfortable that even if you quote unquote pick a counter, it's not gonna matter. And when you think about it, what really quote unquote counters a Lion, right? Maybe it's more of a overall playstyle type thing. You're thinking about someone that can deal with dispelling this stun, this hex. An Abaddon would have been amazing, but Deckers pick it for themselves. This is interesting because it's great into both supports, but if you get unlucky and get broken up before you can manually activate your borrowed time, it could serve as a problem. I feel like a lot of Abaddon players maybe forget sometimes that they need to activate their ult, and that could leave them in a sticky situation.
It's surprised me a few times. I'll be like, I'm Abaddon, I'm safe, I got my ultimate, and just suddenly get crushed instantly because I did not think about the mechanics of it.
Yeah. Abaddon always feels like almost like a Wraith King, right? You don't really plan on dying. You just know I have ultimate or I don't have ultimate. So when you have borrowed time, you're running in, you're trying to get on a target. I think how you set apart the good Abaddons from the bad Abaddons is the Abaddons that account for when exactly their ultimate is going to pop or how they're going to pop it. Because you can just jump in the way of a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage, Backstreet Boys, they have a bunch, right? If they manage to Fatal Bonds you and just get that Dark Willow ultimate running, the Viper magic as well, it's scary. Now they have the retreat option of the Centaur. It's also great into Gyro, potentially Lion. I thought the Abaddon was going to be 1, but this Gyro is more than likely going to be a Beats hero. You were asking me about comfort. That's as comfortable as it gets for him.
Dyer's ban.
How do you feel about Gyrocopter's itemization? I feel like whenever I play this hero, the timings of it just feels slightly off for me.
Radiance ban.
Yeah, I think it does depend on the game, right? With Gyrocopters, one of the big benefits that he brings to the table is that number one, he never is supposed to lose lane. If you lose lane as a gyro, you're doing something wrong, because even in the roughest lanes, you can always use flat cannon, push out the wave, pull the camp. Of course, I'm not sure whether that's something that the Deckers will rely on to deal with this Centaur, because it's not likely going to be very action-packed. But Gyrocopter, first thing, never supposed to lose the lane, and then from there, you can kind of plan out how you want to play this draft. So a lot of the times, Gyrocopter is picked because you want to play a bit more active. You want to use that magic damage to your advantage in the early stages. Can definitely see him TPing in, using the Twin Gates for a gank. Will be very effective there. Itemization-wise, maybe you want to get some early stat items. I'm looking at a Falcon Blade, maybe even a Dragon Lance. You don't really want to be too greedy because you might run the risk of just getting blown up by the magic, right?
Yeah, Burst on both teams looking pretty good at the moment. think it's gonna make
Just
for
worry a bit
some.
for
Mm,
by like the deckers, just because Centaur at the moment he's geared up to have a really really nice pipe timing, because the Abaddons are likely gonna buy Radiance and Gyro so much of his damage until maybe 20-30 minutes is magical. You buy a pipe, like the deckers are not going to kill any of these heroes easily.
mhm. We're thinking Tiny is mid, and then they're gonna be picking. This is kind of interesting. They can go a few different directions with this, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be Tiny 4 just because
Hmm.
the Tiny mid into a Viper is going
Mm-hmm.
to be miserable. They've already banned out the Lone Druid. That is a Proud signature. So Proud Soft Moon standing in, usually it would be Juvu playing the offlane position for the Deckers, but unfortunately he is, okay, not unfortunately. Fortunately, he is enjoying a lovely honeymoon right now. So shout out Juvu, enjoy your
Mm-hmm.
honeymoon.
Yeah.
But that means he's not here to fulfill the duties. And yeah, Proud is another, I want to say, weird one along with Strilling. They have a very specific pool. So that might allude to why we saw some of those earlier bans on the Enigma, on the Beast. You're going to end things with a Spectre. So going to be looking to play a bit more of a pick-off lineup, I want to say, at least in the early stages. I guess this Spectre is going to be good for jumping the line and Tiny, but into a gyrocopter, I wonder whether
10
that's
seconds
good enough
remaining.
late game insurance. I
Mm.
feel like this gyro can still get to the point where he's
5
six slaughter and then he
seconds
stands there, and I
remaining.
don't know whether Spectre Viper can deal with him.
Mm. I like the Spectre pick. It feels like it kind of balances out their quite sort of like quite early game, I would say. And Spectre does provide them a decent amount of late game.
Hmm.
If it does end up going late for them. I mean, both teams are going to want to press momentum as hard as they can early, I think.
Yeah. I just don't know what the plan is per se. We've been seeing some like phylactery specters just because of that new like shadow step ability, right? It's single
Mhm.
target and then you throw it out, you send an illusion, you get some slow, nice magic damage as well. Helps you sustain in the lane. Whew! OD coming out in the mid lane. That is nasty.
Yeah.
As a good friend of mine likes to say, you always want to ban OD because that opens up the middle lane. But unfortunately, the mid lane is going to be shut very hard on this Viper. A Viper typically wants to dominate the lane, but I mean, up against an OD, you still have to be careful
Mhm.
not to just throw your imprisonment out willy-nilly. But for the most part, Four Fates should have a pretty nice time.
Yeah, with the caustic bath, I feel like typically you're not leveling your Q, which is kind of a nice way to secure your lane, but we'll have to see how that sort of matchup does. I think OD
Okay,
feels super comfortable in that
controversial,
lane. Hmm.
but I think the Vipers that go Caustic Buff and don't level Poison Attack,
Yeah,
like that's just straight up like
grief.
bad. Like that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's grief. Like you can't actually do that
Yeah.
unless for some reason you're in a lane that's so difficult. Like the only exception that I'll accept is like a sniper,
Mm.
because even something like a Lina, if you find the right angle, you can poison attack her down.
Mhm.
Right? It's
Yeah.
only sniper that you can avoid against, because then you just shove the lane and then you go farm and it's chill. You probably only want 1 or 2 points max in the poison attack. At Forfeits, he has a very big, I want to say, burden on his shoulders. Also, before we get into the match itself, notice that Strilling was the one picking the Abaddon instead, and Proud is on the Tiny. So I'm not sure whether they're doing a role swap or a lane swap thing. Is this going to be a support Abaddon to kind of play off the dispels, or is it going to just be, these players switching roles? We're not sure, but we'll see as we get into game one of the Deckers versus Buyback
Oh, goody. I'm
Street
so
Boys.
terribly excited.
I almost forgot that. BBSB. Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
we didn't do the hats, but I did do a quick note, and the thing that I'm
Mm-hmm.
attributing my points best to is unique skins. Uh,
Sure.
it was the team with the Abaddon. Yeah, Dire team was the most eye-catching for me.
Okay. Is it just? I mean, the Lions spec the hell out, but I gotta say, hate this outfit on Four Fates. Like Four Fates is bringing the vibes down. But like, why he look like a Egyptian ceremonial? Like he should be buried along with the pyramids. That's all I'm saying. Everyone on Buyback Street Boys is looking pretty nice.
Mm.
Kind of similarly, I would say there's like one member kind of bringing the vibes down. This Centaur set is not necessarily the most hype. You know, I feel like,
Yeah, there's not much shine to it, not much bling.
yeah.
All right, so
This kind of
maybe
gives me the type of vibes of a Centaur that's going to be hiding behind and pressing Stampede instead of a beastly chair that's going to jump in and initiate for the squad.
all right.
Which is fine, you know.
Both teams now gonna be kind of a respectful a bounty exchange here. No clash is gonna happen for these bounties.
Yeah.
Is the
I feel like
heroes?
you typically see some of these heroes itching for action, right? You think about the Warlock with the potential of the Fatal Bonds, Gyrocopter as well with Rocket Barrage. Like, those are huge level 1 spells, especially the Photic Shield. So it's curious that, I guess, you know, the deckers didn't really want to find action, but I guess you have your weaker components on each side. So it is still going to be an off-lane Tiny. That's the decision, and it's an Abaddon in the safe lane as a support. It's something we very rarely see these days.
I'm a fan of Abaddon support. I run it sometimes. Feels good in the right lineups. Having a support to be able to kind of be at the front to absorb the point of contact, I think, is nice.
Now, would you
feature.
say this is the right lineup then for this support Abaddon?
We'll have to see how it shakes out. I mean, positioning is a big factor in it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. At least some spells that the dispel on the shields can be useful.
Yeah.
Dark Willow spells, definitely a lot of them can be dispelled off.
It's a lot of pressure going in onto this Centaur. He's dropping very low up here. Chased away, and 4 beats will draw himself first blood. So yeah, I mean, I was looking at Strilling because Strilling was dropping pretty low, but ended up kind of trying to body block the scent anyway. Really nicely done from her there to set up for 4 beats. And this is what we talked about, right? The Gyrocopter level 1 Rocket Barrage, it has to be respected. Once he gets it to level 2, that's even scarier. So this early laning stage already going well for beats.
Far on the mid matchup, looking favored onto the OD side, which we were kind of expecting, but it's still early.
And some denies going RIP's way though. So he's going for the max nether toxin. This is what you were suggesting. I guess it's okay because you just want to shove the lane out, and OD is the type of hero that likes it when the lane is right in the middle of the river. He doesn't like to get pushed into, and he doesn't like it when you're pushed into your tower, just because he can't really maximize how much he can trade with you, how much he can deny from you. The positioning can be a bit awkward. He's just spamming out the Astro Imprisonments for now. So I'm quite curious because there are 2 ways you can build this OD, right? You can either go for the Astro Imprisonment and just get like an Octarine Core, Kaya Yasha or Kaya Sanj, and then play for that spell specifically. It's excellent this game to try and help your team escape the initiation. But he's gonna go for that typical right-click build, which has the Witchblade. Usually you see some ODs get a Midas just because the farming is a bit of an issue for this hero. But yeah, he's gonna skip over that, try and get into action a bit earlier. Bit of a tussle here in the bot lane though. Comedy Bronze holding on to that Lotus. Still, kills popped on both sides. This is not a fight that the Lion can win. Softmoon will still be able to click down the Spectre though. So overall, getting an EXP advantage for the Spec, but the fact that you trade a support for a core, definitely not a good thing.
In terms of kill potential, I mean, we're already seeing some deaths on this warboard. But I mean, as you said, I think the Gyro Abaddon lane is probably quite safe. I mean,
Yeah, it's safe for the Gyro. Yeah, I don't know whether you can say it's safe for the Centaur and the Dark Willow. I think, funnily enough, this is a lane where the core is easier to kill than the support, because Bear always has that Shadow Realm to retreat back into and the Brambles to keep them at bay. But Super Nintendo Chalmers might not be quite as lucky. You gotta watch out for the Twin Gate rotations as well. I'm not sure whether that's something Beats is looking out for, but if he just runs over to the bot lane, it's just not really something that the Warlock and the Spectre can deal with.
Abaddon getting low there. Does have a stick. Gonna be able to walk out here likely. Does have the shield to protect themselves.
Yeah. I actually don't really like the decision to go for the Mist Coil. I feel like that makes sense as a support Abaddon because you're trying to kind of heal your cause. But in this particular lane where Super Nintendo Chalmers and Auto Bear are clearly focusing you down, you need as much HP as you can. Every time you throw a Mist Coil out, you're sacrificing a bit of your own resources. So, I mean, we can see here that Beats is really not under any significant threat at all. So, yeah, I wonder whether a single point in the passive would have helped him trade into the center a bit more. And not to mention the slow is also going to keep you in range of 4 Beats and his Rocket Barrage. It's not the biggest of deals. I mean, Beats is still having a stellar time. It's just that right now he's kind of a bit too busy barraging to actually last hit. He's the bottom of the CS and the Centaur's actually matching him despite taking harass. So not ideal, but you know, you still are okay with this position.
Like it's pretty safe on the Spectre side as well. The heals on Warlock to keep Spectre nice and alive and tanky. One skill in Dispersion seems to pick up Spectre kind of nicely.
Yeah. Warlock is that type of pos 5, right, where your carry will very rarely be threatened. Speaking of threat, Strilling will get run down. So the duo up here, succeeding in just focusing down the Abaddon. I'm not sure why Beats is holding on to the Rocket Barrage. I'm sure he could have thrown it off. Even if it was tanked by the creeps a little bit, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's just like 2 creeps and the Dark Willow. So because of that, they don't get anything and they just lose that Abaddon.
We had a quick rotation mid from Comedy Bronze.
That's actually something I wanted to talk about because when you have a Warlock, he typically cannot be broken. Like, he's just going to keep Bill Safe up and running the entire time. So what you want to be doing on Comedy Bronze is actually looking for plays on the other lanes. Force the Warlock into an uncomfortable situation. Because you think about a Warlock TPing in as a response, right? What's he going to do? Like Shadow Word and wait like 5 seconds for it to heal you? That's not going to happen. So I'd rather see maybe the Lion focus his efforts elsewhere. They literally just use all their spells on Bilsif, and he's full HP links.
Yeah. Cuts the Ring of Health. It's just a great item to have in the laning stage. Kind of makes you feel like your health pool isn't going to go down as long as there's not enough burst to take you down.
Yeah. Also, it's like low-key kind of a counter, right? The main thing we've been seeing is with the rise of Phylactery, some of these off-lane or even carry heroes like Spectre, PL, Tiny, they get an early Phylactery and then they get very safe and secure in the lane. They can put out a lot of consistent magic damage that their lane opponent can't deal with. But usually you'd see maybe an off-lane Tiny, they get that Phylactery, they keep spamming tossers with the crash landing, then you get that magic damage. But I just noticed that Soft Moon, he does not have crash landing at all. He's going for insurmountable, so trying to play off of that status resist. Maybe looking to try and scale as a right clicker, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's always something I find tricky with Tiny. You can skill up so that your burst is nice and strong early game. At the sacrifice of your tree grab, which will kind of get you that farm secured. I mean, I like the Soul Ring. I've been warming up to that item more and more as I play. Just as the ability to farm with your nuke damage.
Yeah. I think that is the, like, probably, like, just numbers-wise, the most efficient way of farming on Tiny, unless you're specifically a pos 1. Rexcal dies in the bot lane. They turn and focus down the Warlock, so maybe caught himself out of position. He's been spamming the heals on the Spectre, so then they turn towards him instead, which is also another way you can deal with the Warlock.
One thing I think about around this time in the game is which tower is going to go down first.
I mean, one side has a rock that they can use to try and pressure things out. I'm not sure whether there's any real tower threat. Softman's gonna find himself another kill. Damn, okay. So, whatever I was saying, completely wrong here. He maxes Avalanche, he doesn't play for the crash landing. But that seems to be good enough in terms of magic burst to threaten these heroes. I mean, Comedy Bronze is getting pretty high levels in the mana drain, so he's keeping the resources low on Rexcal. And another toss, another stun. The chain stun on the disable is not perfect, but it looks like they'll still be able to run down Rexcal. Okay. Soft Moon's just kind of shitting on them right now, I'm not gonna lie.
Power Treads gets the nice attack, that high base damage on Tiny.
Holy shit, 150. Dude, he's going in. Look for the toss. Okay, a bit too fast there with the phase boots.
Now, Four Fates getting nice and confident in the mid lane, being aggressive onto the Viper. That's the kill off. Seeing
That's
how...
one of those things, Links. You see it happen in slow motion. You know, the second Four Fates walked up there, my eyes looked up to the north of the screen. I saw that green diamond that indicated the Sanity's eclipse was up. I'm like, brother, Viper, this is not gonna end well for you. It's real tough. Lane's going splendidly here. Stampede coming out. Not sure whether it was the fight in the top lane, but it's still, they lose Bilsif in the bot. Meanwhile, Strilling does go down, so that's what the Stampede was used for, but they trade out for beats. Gonna get the kill onto Uh-Oh Bear. I mean, overall, I don't think you can really complain if you're the Deckers, right? You guys are absolutely bringing the heat in the laning stage. 3k gold lead already at 10 minutes. That's kind of a big deal.
I have to remember, it's been a while since I casted, so I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, no
all
worries.
all
I
the
think
buttons.
it's Y. Y should be net worth. There you go.
Thank you. Right.
I mean, you're doing everything. You're observing, you're casting. It's tough.
It's coming back
that's
to
why.
me. It's coming back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah. Dude, don't worry. The muscle memory is gonna kick in any minute now. Bit of a rotation coming through. 3 heroes onto Comedy Bronze. Bill's side.
Oh, it's 7 health. 7
Wow.
health.
How does he get the kill?
Oh, he did. He was able to jump to his illusion.
No, but I
he
thought-
didn't. No, you're right. He
Yeah.
didn't send it.
What the hell?
Does he have?
Wait, I'm gonna have to check. What the hell did the last death summary? Pure damage from what? Okay, so it says that at the very last moments of this poor lion's life, a full 3 seconds after the spectral dagger, he took 13 pure damage from Desolate.
Oh,
Now, unless I don't know how Desolate works.
yeah, that's
It does
kind of
not-
weird. It shouldn't be
that's so
delayed. It
strange.
shouldn't be delayed.
Yeah, who the hell killed it? Okay, well, maybe it's one of those things where we weren't looking and Comedy Bronze walked back up and got auto-attacked once. Who knows? But whatever it is, nice rotation there from the Dark Willow. That's kind of what you love to see, especially on position 4, position 5s. I feel like these days, the supports that are a bit more liberal with their use of the Twin Gates get the advantage for both side lanes, and it's really huge, right?
Radiant's courier has discovered the entrance to Courier Heaven.
Oh my god. Strilling! Oh, Strilling,
just-
yes, cool.
Harvesting,
That's
harvesting
cool.
the couriers.
Jeez.
He's in trouble now. 3 heroes going on them.
I
Does
mean,
not
you
have-
still have the saved point. Yeah,
It's level
she can
bar.
still level it. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
RIP's gonna come in. Looks like Soft Moon is now caught in a bit of a tough situation. Meanwhile, Four Fates makes the rotation up to top. Gets the kill onto Super Nintendo. They're trying to slow down this Tiny, but as we can see, the Abandoned Aphotic Shield is doing a lot of work. Big Avalanche onto 3. Soft Moon looking for a target, but can't find anyone to toss. And now Strilling, no more borrowed time.
In
Fates might
comes
have to
OD
use
with
the
the
Sanities. Four Fates with the ultimate, getting the kill on 1, looking towards RIP, and with the finger, they get themselves a second. What a play there. Strilling still surviving, and Comedy Bronze still looking. Try and hit in front for the body blocks. Good try. But Rex Cow gets himself under the tower. Fates ain't done, though.
Oh,
This
no,
OD
no.
is hungry.
Once blood.
He won't find anything. Wait, why do these supports keep walking into the... Why did they do that? Dude, what the heck? I thought Strilling was out for sure. Hang on, Fates! Fates! Where you
Bard
going,
went
bro?
down. Oh. Not
Dude,
see
the Warlock
Warlock.
isn't even juking him. Fates is just juking himself. Okay, there are 3 heroes here though, Fates. Are you sure you want to commit for this? Okay.
They're
What's
brawling
happening?
it. They're brawling it.
Is Fates dead?
Oh,
2-man stun. 1-man stun.
that's gonna be enough.
Okay. Very, very strange situation. Comedy Bronze will not get the shield. I think if Strilling actually just ran up there and shielded first to dispel the slow, that might have saved him. But no major difference there. So, big advantage in this early game, right? Links for the side of the Deckers. And then still decent in that fight. They do lose Soft Moon, but then Forfeits decides to do a big ring around the Rosie, find himself caught off and killed, and kind of baits Comedy Bronze into death as well. So not the best.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was looking one way and then quickly turned to the other. The burst damage on both of these teams can kind of make these sort of surprising fights where it'll just suddenly swing.
Yeah.
The
Also
ultimate-
inching closer to that Aghanim Scepter on the Viper, and that's going to be a very big problem for the Deckers. How are they going to cut through that HP pool? For now, they've been successful, but that's because the ultimates on the supports haven't come up yet, right? You think about the Rock as a counter initiation tool, that is going to be a bit of life insurance for this Viper, especially in these skirmishes. Smoke move up. Rexcal looking for an opportunity to use the ult. They're actually going to Stampede very early to try and get the wraparound. Okay. Just a little cruise through the mid lane. I guess Super Nintendo Chalmers just wanted to get there faster. What the hell?
It'd be funny if the Centaur ult also made Roshan go faster.
Yeah, true. But then that would imply Roshan's on your team, and that wouldn't be very fair, would it?
Okay.
It'd be funny if Centaur ult just made everything on the map move faster.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be much of an ultimate, would it? It'd be
No,
kind of shit.
no, that's true. Be chaotic, but not exactly to your favor.
That's some overthrow shit right there, like they should add that. Okay, so not sure what was happening. I think Centaur wanted a paid vacation to the mid lane. Looks at the OD, gets imprisoned once and decides, that's it from me, I'm out. Heads back to the top lane to farm. It's actually the Deckers who are positioned very aggressively. In comes the Centaur again. Forfeits in some trouble. You need to bail out your OD. Nice stun. You found Soft Moon on the backline. Big ultimate from Forfeits, but still the damage, it's overwhelming. Finally, the Finger of Death comes through to finish off the Centaur, but it costs them big time. 2 cores going down. Strilling trying to turn and fight. Will manage to get the return kill onto the spec with the burst of the shield. Overall, though, I feel like Deckers should have gotten a lot more out of that fight than what ended up happening.
I mean, I saw them approaching that tower when the Warlock ultimate's up, and I think that's going to be tricky for them. 3-2. Not too bad on either side, but they are going to get this return damage now onto the other tower.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing you want to do the least, right? We're seeing how each draft wants to operate. I feel like if the Deckers are able to just kind of take that, I want to say like, standoff fight where each team is on their side casting spells, they are going to be in the better position, but the problem is they overextended themselves past the tier 1 tower. They got double stomped by the Centaur, meanwhile the Tiny's completely isolated. You think about how differently that would look if everyone's just behind the OD, right? The second they go on the OD, there's a shield that comes out, there's a stun to keep them at bay, and then the Tiny's covering them with an avalanche. No way you chase them down there, but because they're kind of filtered in a single file line, it ends up looking very weird. So hopefully they can clean things up. I mean, they still have a nice advantage, a bit of anti-synergy there. Both players going in at the same time with the blink, that's not really the reveal that you wanted.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like once you jump on a team with players that you're not 100% comfortable with their sort of play styles, their heroes, and sort of shaking out how your positioning is going to line up with your teammates. That's kind of the first few weeks of WLDL that you're shaking out.
Yeah. I mean, what I do know is that the Deckers, they've been practicing by playing pubs together, but of course, Proud being the X factor, right? Just jumping in as a stand-in for now, and quite literally jumping in and swinging some rocks at an Astro-imprisoned opponent, which is a bit unfortunate. It's still interesting because I guess at the end of the day, you can't really play Tiny as anything but a pause 1 without a blink. You're always going to need that for the initiation. But I do think maybe a Phylactery, or at this point, since you've gone insurmountable, going for like an Echo Saber, Power Treads build, just to amplify your own farm would be good. Soft Moon doesn't blink in time, tries for the TP out.
Stun
You
gonna
got a
be
storm.
there? Yeah.
Oh! Very nice.
We're seeing an Orchid being built on Tiny. What's the thinking there?
I mean, it helps him get on the supports, right? That's kind of the main thing that stands out. Other than that, it's a bit odd. Strilling's being run at by two beautiful two-man stun. Comedy Bronze comes in clutch. There's borrowed time soaking up all that damage. Astro Imprisonment on an illusion, but Forfeit still able to come through with the damage. They've brought the numbers, they've brought the rock, and now they've brought the Centaur to the front lines. Still saved for now by the Mist Curl. Strilling doing so much work in this fight. Forfeits, you gotta watch yourself. You got 200 HP and a dream to work with at the moment.
Ooh, close
Even though we
dagger.
talked about the gyro being... Oh, you
Got a
got...
force staff.
Yo, force your buddy out, man! Strilling... Ooh! Okay. Alright, surviving.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I kind of expected the gyro to show up at least once in the past 20 minutes. Hasn't done so just yet, but in return, he's farmed up an absolute storm. He is 3k above his next opponent.
That's kind of what you want on gyro. When I play this hero, I have the awkward feeling of timing. I have a tendency to just go and fight early, but like you allow this hero to farm up its flash farming abilities and then late game damage just is kind of the aim that you want to go for.
Yeah. We did talk about that last pick Spectre, right? Even though it is a somewhat decent late game insurance, it could get tricky into a fully farmed gyrocopter, and at this point, he's going to reach that state way faster than you might expect. Still though, I do think if, you know, Buyback Street Boys are able to kill the surrounding heroes, like the Abaddon, like the Tiny, just the gyro alone cannot 1v5 this game, right? He's going to get controlled, he's going to get kept in place and ripped apart. Desolate's going to do mad pure damage. That's never something you can itemize against. I mean, at some point, all the damage that you do to this Spectre is going to be reflected back your way.
I have an amplified OD making way to the bottom lane. They want this tier 1 tower, the last tier 1 of Radiant.
There's still the top tier one.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
But that I get why you say that, because the top tier one is literally so bloody unimportant. It doesn't even feel like it matters whether it exists or not. I think the only thing it really is important for is probably that Tormentor fight. Speaking of Tormentor, did they get it? No, they didn't. They're actually gonna get this Dark Willow. Okay, now they can go Twin Gate, now they can go Tormentor, if that's what they want to do.
That's exactly what they're gonna do. No vision on the gate, but they do have that Watcher down there, smoked right before. This is gonna be a surprise to them.
This is only because of that very nice ward, spotting out 4 members. But you might wonder to yourself if it would have been better if they just went for the Tom. They're gonna start for the initiation onto the biggest target of all. The Spectre is gonna get caught and killed. Excellent plays there from the Deckers, furthering their advantage, taking down perhaps the most important hero to keep in the dirt.
That's the kind of plays that in tournament play gets you those steps ahead in the mid game. Being able to group together, just kind of stop farming for a little bit and find the nice pickoffs on their carries.
Yeah. I was criticizing Beats a little bit about not connecting earlier to the fights, but now that we see them in action, it's clear that it was intentional, right? Whoever is calling the shots on the Deckers is telling Beats, look, it's chill. Like, we're trading up fine, we're 9k gold ahead, you can go farm, and then once it's time for these major objectives, like the Tormentor, that's where we want you to participate. Now, it's not an ideal shot, right? The tree grab, no charge limit, may be a bit better for this right-click focused Tiny. But still, you would like to have it maybe... Okay, I guess the Lion's already bought his own, so it didn't need to worry about that.
Putting pressure on the top tier 2. This will be the last tier 1 for Radiant. Going down.
Tower has fallen.
Looks like they're
Kind of
dire.
badass Tiny build, actually. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but this is... It's working out for Proud so far, right? He is keeping up big time in terms of farm. He's not lost any of his momentum just because he went this more, I guess, active item build.
Yeah. It's got the regen you want for a tanky strength hero. It just kind of needs mana for the burst.
Yeah.
Loves the attack speed.
Radiant's middle tower is taking damage.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense, right? Because for this Tiny at the moment, he's kind of playing to try and maybe get the pick off or set up for his team.
Oh, jump.
So he's
Onto
gonna
the
jump forward.
Spectre.
Orchid is available.
Goes, but out comes the rock to even this out a little bit.
Yeah, they're kind of layering the disables in an awkward way. You want your gyro here, but it's the Deckers who are split up and they'll lose their Tiny for free. Now you have a coil, not a coil, a crown onto 4 Fates, turns around with the ultimate, narrowly surviving. Still got the Shadow Word, goes out onto the Lion? Okay. I feel like he had the range to do it on 4 Fates, but he doesn't manage to get the connection. And Tumblr's Toy narrowly is gonna save him. No!
Has the range. Oof.
Okay, what the hell are Deckers doing? Like, where is this gyro?
I mean, I think the thinking was good there, but I mean, this is what you get, what you pay for, what you get a Spectre on your team, and the Spectre is this agi carry that just like it's kind of surprisingly tanky. Burst wasn't enough to take him down initially, and then the follow-up hit them in the butt.
Yeah, Gyro's gonna die here, which is just awful. They're gonna come through with a nice 2-man stun on both fronts. Soft Moon now looking to try and clean up. So even silencing the Warlock, that's an interesting choice. I guess they don't want to have any heals coming through. Curse Crown's gonna keep Soft Moon at bay, and a bit too late on the Avalanche. So you still will find maybe this Dark Willow. Unfortunately, the toss just lets Comedy Bronze go for a little air ride there. Overall, pretty messy from the Deckers, but they still are okay. I mean, the Viper survives through all of that is what is leaving a sour taste in my mouth, and he's level 16, almost towards that BKB. He's just gonna get harder and harder to kill, right? So I don't really fully agree with how the Deckers have been playing the map. I feel like they could just easily stick together, maybe even force the Roshan. This is the Spectre's dream game plan, right? If you split up on the map, you always have global Stampede, you have Haunt, you can get these pickoffs. I feel like there's no reason for you to be playing into that on the Dire side.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it's just my tunnel vision, but it's like, what is the state of Warlock's ult? And as the Deckers, trying to play around that to make sure you're not running yourself into a huge counter initiation.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Although I will say that if your gyro is this farmed, like the whole concept of their draft, if you gave anyone these 5 heroes, right? You look at the construction of it. It's like, okay, let's stand behind Gyro. If they go on Gyro, we got disables, we got burst from OD, we got saves from Abaddon and OD, we got setup from Tiny. It makes sense. You're running together as a ball, but we just haven't really seen that come to fruition just yet. Maybe the Deckers have a different idea about how they want to play, and maybe they're getting overly concerned about the Warlock. But you just imagine, even if, let's say, your Gyro's in the front, they press Stampede, they press Haunt, they run at your Gyro. You can shield him, you stun all the illusions, you mana drain half of them. And then your OD presses Imprisonment on whoever needs to be saved. Even if the rock comes down, they don't have the burst, and the Abaddon can pop his out and just run in, soak up all that damage. Right? There are so many avenues of play I feel like that they could be looking into. Right now, they just... I can't help but feel like they're not really maximizing how strong they are. Like, this gold lead 8k doesn't really feel like it matters anymore after that fight.
We do see BKBs on couple of heroes now. 4 beats, Gyro has a BKB, and then the Viper. We'd have the ultimate come out. They do manage to find the Spectre.
That is really, really big.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how exactly they spotted Bilsif there, but a very good place to hunt for enemy carries for sure. Avalanche to stop the Hoofstorm. There you go. This is what you want to see if you're a Deckers fan. 4 of them, 5 of them playing together, that's where they're the strongest, because they can just do this leapfrog, right? Blink forward, stun one, Soft Moon's in with the follow-up, now has the Yules for the additional setup, and now you're grouped up. Okay, you got a Warlock out, but what are you gonna do? Your Spectre just doesn't actually have damage to stand up into this just yet. Imagine if Bilsif runs into this lineup right now, the Spec just insta-dies.
The Deckers now pressing their advantage. They've got the tier 2 down on the bottom side. Kill comes out. 4 Fates finding Bear.
Damn. Did he ulti for that? I think he did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's badass. I respect players that just drop their ults for kills.
Yeah,
Saving your
secure.
ultimates, bro, is like, especially like if you're talking about, like, I don't know, if you're Team Liquid falcons or some shit. You drop one ultimate, they punish you for like the entire cooldown. That's a different story. But bro, just get the kill. Don't be all frugal with this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just get in there,
Too
hop ahead, get out.
Too good to use syndrome. It's real.
Yeah,
You just
that's
hold
that's a
something.
disease right there that needs to be cured.
Yeah.
Speaking of disease, though, like I said, the Viper, he's scaling up very nicely. He already has that BKB complete. I think next up, I would love to see something like a Shiva's Guard or maybe a Lotus. Just because the Lotus would ensure you against a lot of these OD imprisonments, even stuff like the Hurricane Pike, the Lion Spells, the Toss, all really nice tools. But I don't know whether he's the one to build it or whether it's something that Super Nintendo Chalmers wants to look into. He's trying to get towards that Crimson Guard. So the aura items are online here. They are getting more and more survivable on the side of buyback Street Boys. The thing that they're missing right now is just the damage, in my opinion.
But we'll never forgive it. Never.
They are aware of the Dire in their triangle. Billstiff back again and is looking for that farm to try and keep up to this gyro. But Soft Moon nearby. Just needs one more hero, can probably take out the Spectre.
I'm not sure whether they saw him. I think it's daytime and the pings come through. So Soft Moon, now he's gonna see the Spec. The Spec probably sees him as well. In comes the Blink, in comes the Hex. Layering the disables, it doesn't matter if they get the kill though. Finger of Death in.
Enough?
Spectre still surviving, but the Orchid damage will proc him. That's why you buy that Orchid, baby.
Right there. It's easy to forget about, but 30% extra damage is nothing to sneeze at, I'm sorry.
No, all good. Four Fates does drop in the mid lane though. Great counterplay there, but now they're being run at by the Gyro. 4 beats is way too terrifying to deal with. Billstiff is gonna buy back to try and win this fight, but the problem is, like we said, he doesn't really have a lot of damage to operate. Manages to kill off the line, but now it's Super Nintendo Chalmers being run down. Slowed to a crawl, doesn't really have the help of the Spectre that he can rely on. Looking for a toss back, silence is there. They're actually gonna toss the Gyro in. Oofsom gonna catch him mid-air. Super Nintendo, maybe you are overextending at this point. 4 Fates might have to try for a TP out, taking way too much and will get slain. Soft Moon comes out too late with the Avalanche, and now you just have to get out. Now you just have to run, but you can't stand your ground against RIP with the buyback. So 2 buybacks, very costly there for buyback Street Boys. But living up to their name a little bit, they still get the better of that fight. And it's another situation that you ask yourself, Deckers, did this really need to happen? The answer's probably no.
I mean, impressive how much turnaround just Spectre and Viper was able to create there. I think
on one hand, that's true, but then on the other hand, you are chasing into tier 3s while the tier 2 is still up. And it's not like you have Aegis or anything. I mean, this Gyro is supremely strong, but I think he overestimated the amount of damage he was able to take. That's the type of play that you make when you have an Aegis or Satanic, not the type of play when the game's still very much winnable for your opponents. And right now, I mean, you're still on the hero levels. You can see how much those kills matter, right? Even though they're behind on the net worth, on the Spectre and the Viper, they are now ahead on the levels. And that's a really big deal, because once you get to those higher level talents on these heroes, I mean, I'm specifically looking at like plus 15% all Spectre illusion damage or plus 5 dispersion. Both of those are insane value. I don't play Spectre enough to know, but then you go up to level 25 on the Viper, that's kind of what you're playing for. The Nether Toxin talent, increasing the radius, you cannot toss him out of it anymore. He's just always going to be that tanky.
Where's my pension?
looking for the Hurricane Pike next. A bit of extra health, a bit of more mobility on the hero. I mean, I feel like that's like... Oh, have a fight going on.
Australian's gonna get caught, runs into another Brambles. He is still equipped with the ultimate. Probably has to pop it here. Still holding on. It's actually Soft Moon who takes the Viper Strike. Using the Haunt to chase for more. Strilling has to get that shield off Soft Moon, looking to try and escape. Not enough stuns. Rock comes out in an awkward position. Forfeit's trying to BKB fight in the backline, but his ultimate barely does
nothing.
It doesn't do anything. How did that do so little damage? I don't really know what Forfeits was doing there. Like, what was the plan? I guess it was just a pipe? But the pipe... Okay, I guess the pipe blocked all of it then. And now Beats is caught. What are they doing?
I mean,
Okay, little bit of throwage coming out from the 4 beats, 4 fates combo there. Not go lie.
I think they got a bit split up there. A lot went on to Soft Moon to start that fight off, but they're going to keep going here. Not sure they're going to catch more. Super Nintendo going in.
And that was a really nice blink away from Proud. This time round, he manages to react in time, so the Viper Strike doesn't connect with him. And a nice stun will keep that at bay, but that opens up the Roche, right? It's still 40 seconds without your gyro. The Deckers, I think you summed it up very well, Lynx. That was a fight that was so split up. But I feel like we've been saying that for the past like 15-20 minutes. There were only 1 or 2 moments where they were grouping up together as 5 in the bot lane, in the mid, and that's when they've looked successful. But the second these heroes start to go in 1 by 1, or even 3 or 5, like, it doesn't really look as compelling, right? You see their lineup and you're like, okay, what do these 3 heroes do? What do these 2 heroes do? It doesn't reflect the fact that you're so far ahead, and now you got an Aegis on the Spectre, so you're not even going to kill her the first time. The supports are still easy pickings, especially for an AD rune Tiny, though. Soft Moon will jump in and get that done. But I really think that Deckers have probably 1 or 2 more chances to take a good fight together. If not, this game will start to snowball completely out of their hands. In fact, I'd argue maybe it's already starting the snowball.
What are we going to see in the late game that's going to really put one team ahead of the other?
I mean, just the fact that on one end, you're dealing with a Viper and a Spectre lineup, and then you have OD and Gyro. And the problem with OD and Gyro is that they are going to just get run at by the Spectre illusions. You don't ever build enough items on OD and Gyro to survive Desolate. If Spectre illusions are just beating the shit out of you, you can get eggs, you can get all the damage in the world that you want, but you are instantly going to get spotted out. You are instantly going to get jumped either by the Centaur or the Rock, or maybe even a Bramble, and then you need to use all your defensive abilities. So I kind of want to see Deckers speed things up a bit. I don't know whether the ultimate late game will be in their favor unless Buyback Street Boys make a couple of mistakes. I think the biggest play they made this game was having those 2 buybacks available, Bilsif rejoining the fight and Viper coming through as well to punish them. And now they're looking for more action. Smoke move up, 5 members charging into this enemy jungle.
Lion looks like to be the front. They're looking at the Tormentor. They're going through the portal. They're going to move, hoping to get the Tormentor down here. Not going to find anything with this smoke. Just an unfortunate positioning on the map for the Radiant.
Scan connects though, so Radiant know what's happening, right? It's just they weren't in the position. Overall, I don't think that was a bad smoke, right? Because you flush out the entire enemy jungle. Deckers are not in a very efficient map position right now. And you look at where Buyback Street Boys are, right? You have the Spectre, who's farming by herself up here, and then the rest of the team is all grouped mid. So you make the good play, you jump the Spectre, try and get the catch. She's isolated at the moment, and the TPs are going to start coming in, but Bilsif, look at that fresh new BKB. That's going to be real nice. You can't really get away from the Spectre at this point. Super Nintendo Chalmers has connected and a Terrorize onto 2, forcing Soft Moon back. They'll get the kill onto the Tiny, trading offlane for offlane right now. But 4 beats, he's a bit too strong. That BKB running out means that the Viper can go to work. Jumping in with the nosedive onto the poor Gyro, and he can't stand his ground no more. Neither can Fates. Borrow time is popped, supports in jeopardy. A nice 2-man stun from Comedy Bonds trying to keep them at bay, but Spectre can just easily jump over to her illusion. And now this OD might be next to fall.
Oh, blink
Comes
out.
back out, quick blink away.
TP?
Off the mark there with the... Oh, that was so close.
Two
Now
TPs
Strilling,
out.
they've used that hoof stomp and he gets out as well. There's no way these 2 heroes should have survived there, but a bit of nice acrobatics gets them to safety. That being said though, Lynx, we are reaching that point. We're seeing the Spectre. She is just not able to die anymore.
I mean, the Aegis coming in clutch there. They did get a nice jump on the Spectre, but the fact that she had 2 lives was just, I think, enough time for the rest of the team to show up.
Dire's top
Yeah.
tower has fallen.
I mean, also really good itemization from this spec, right? I wasn't really feeling the Radiance up till this point, but I think what she's gone for has helped her maximize her impact, and the BKB especially plays such a big part because that's a lot of the magic damage coming out. Hurricane Pike forfeits back to the safety of his tier 4. Unfortunately, your tier 3s can't really have that same privilege of that safety, already dropping to 1. I think it's gone actually. Yeah, RIP is going to finish that up.
Top tower has fallen.
And that's the first
This
high
is just a
ground
weird
building.
scene, right? Like Link's, they're 10k gold lead up on Deckers, but they're the ones on the back foot just getting their asses handed to them right now.
Yeah. Goes to show that, like, I don't know. You can have the net worth advantage, but it's not in the right place at the right time. One thing that I noticed, like, Tiny's got the Conda. I think that's like the ace up their sleeve. I think Viper and Spectre are quite susceptible to it.
Yeah.
If they can just be able to position it, kind of get the burst onto either of those heroes while they're broken, and be able to do it early in the fight, it might be enough to have the fight go in their way.
Yeah. I think this is the point in the game that we've reached already where you've slowed down the gyro significantly, right? For so long in the game, he was top net worth. And then for the past, what feels like 4, 5 almost minutes, he's still working on that Satanic. Got caught on the twin gates trying to BKB and cancelling his own channel. Got caught in some of these fights. I think it's a bit of an outdated idea that the Abaddon alone can keep the gyrocopter safe. I feel like the way that Deckers are using their spells together doesn't really kind of show that game plan that we were maybe alluding to, that maybe it's a bit more how their draft should operate, right? You're thinking about everyone to try and protect this gyro and the OD, but then you see OD and Soft Moon just jumping in, pressing their spells, and then getting caught out. And at that point, the gyro can't do it all. I feel like I keep saying that.
Yeah. Invis Drilling, looking at the Viper. The Viper does have friends.
Smoke's gonna break. They know someone's around. Immediate stampede to try and get the catch. It's actually the front line that they're looking at. Poor Lion in some trouble to the north, but Strilling to the south still has the ultimate. Now towards Soft Moon, Bilsif is now in an awkward position. This could be a chance here for the Deckers. They need to look towards this Spectre, but instead they're trying to focus down the Centaur. Tankiest member in the team by a long shot. Here's the Hex, here's the damage. Nice setup, 2-man stun. This is what you wanted to see. You lose Strilling, the BKB they're trying to fight, but Satanic comes in clutch. They'll even use that Sanity's Eclipse. I think it was into a BKB spec, so it didn't do anything. But that's exactly how this draft can operate. Meanwhile, Strilling keeping the entire enemy team busy. I think... Oh.
Just mimicking the ethereal form there.
This is like... He's giving him a warning. He's like, this is what could happen to you, okay? Watch your... Oh, Comedy Bronze!
Coming through.
That's some bullshit right there. That's some bullshit. I feel like Comedy Bronze... He's standing there like, are you fucking serious, dog? Like, that's... Dude, the fact that that doesn't actually break the channel of the Twin Gate is so stupid. He would have actually gotten him if he stunned, too.
Yeah, yeah. So he was Hex, but he still went through. Is that what?
Yeah.
you were
Like,
saying?
if I'm not mistaken, like, roots, like, the pit also don't stop it. So, like, Underlord Pit doesn't stop it. Only a stun or something that, like, stops you from channeling.
Big shield rune on the Tiny.
Whew. 2k HP for free. Love that. Let's blink away from the Dark Willow. And this game is not over yet. As long as Deckers keep up this momentum and maybe stop chaining their disables, it will still get Rex Cal though. Very nicely done.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
All right. Gyrocopters online.
One up the high
Just-
ground.
Yep. Just don't split up now, fellas. Onto Unruly Bear.
There's a buyback.
Buyback is there from the
Warlock.
buyback boy. Buyback boys, yeah. Fates, you can't do this. There
One
you go.
overextend, yeah. Vector up in 15. They're gonna back it off. Nope, they're going in.
Stop
Throws
with no
the
one to
Viper.
toss to though. Trying to get the Viper. Using that BKB. Great timing there and discipline. Now Forfeit's in some trouble. Gets jumped on with the nosedive. That ultimate doesn't do anything to a BKB target, brother. Forfeits is gonna go down. You now have the Spectre back in the fight. You have a buyback available on the Viper if you need it. And he's gonna come straight back into the fray. 4 beats in big trouble. Another overextension there from the OD will cost the Deckers that high ground push. It could have been so clean, it could have been so safe, but Soft Moon, he's not done. Back in with the toss. What are you doing, buddy? You can't even get that kill on the support. The second these players split up, it's almost like whatever strategy they were cooking up just falls apart. You ever play those games or like be in those like softwares with like proximity voice chat. Like if you're next to someone in the game, you can hear them, but the second you get a bit too far from them, dude, because I just know Strilling or somebody else is like, guys, let's back up, and Forfates is in there, he can't hear a thing. He's just he's like he's listening to like whispers. He's like,
That'd be
he's like, yeah, guys, I'm killing them. I'm killing. Don't worry about it. That's what it looks like right now.
Proximity voice in Dota. That would be a mechanic.
That'd be kind of funny, actually. You just need to, like, that's the only way of communicating. And watch people get, like, invest in mobility items just to make sure they're next to their teammates. We're in a Blink 4-staff meta. Hey, but jokes aside, I mean, that fight went abysmally, right, for the Deckers. That's not how it should have happened.
No. The buyback boys got a buyback, able to kind of catch them on just a little bit too forward. They did get the tower, but I think overall it was cost them the Aegis now.
Yeah, the buyback doesn't really matter because it's counteracted by the Aegis, right? You might have wanted to give it to your Viper, but like I said, at this point, you're really not so concerned about him going down. Both these teams are reaching a similar state in the game where as long as they are fighting together and they're not getting isolated, picked off one by one, it should be pretty straightforward. Now, in a 5v5 at this point, especially if it's front to back and the Deckers cast their spells well, I still feel like they are at an advantage just because all three of their cores can actually burst down heroes, right? If the Tiny goes in, the Gyro goes in, or OD goes in, Forfates just really has to stop ulting BKB targets.
Dire's bottom tower under fire.
Was Radiant gonna
You need that
attempt?
damage.
They're gonna try for this tier 2. I suspect there's not gonna be a contest for
Dire's
it.
bottom tower is being attacked.
You look at the discipline here from the Centaur. He has 4,000 gold, but he was saving it because he knows he wants to hang on to buyback. The buyback is actually not just a team name, it's a lifestyle. These guys are truly living up to it.
There's a button for it now. I found it so useful. It's like I know I should push that button so I don't buy more items.
Oh, like to prevent you from buying past the buyback.
That extra
Big
step.
fight here. BKB forced out on the Gyro and he's in trouble again. The illusions ravaging the backline. They actually use an offensive imprisonment, offensive ultimate. Forfates getting not much done. Nice stun onto 3. I mean, your OD's punching away onto a golem at the moment. That's his priority. Not really sure whether that's what you want to be hitting. He's gonna jump in. Another imprisonment. Things are starting to get a bit messy here for buyback bros. BKB popped on Rip. He's gonna try and rip some of these heroes up. Again, Comedy Bronze is landing these killer stuns on the 2-3 heroes. Soft Moon there with the follow-up. Finally, Billsif will drop for the first time. No one lost on the Deckers just yet. They can try and regroup and get this second kill. Orchid there, Forfeit, somehow finds himself on the front line. He needs help, he needs a shield, but he's not gonna find it. The stun comes out too late. There's a buyback for Forfeit. Will it have that same effect? Avalanche onto 4, but the toss back up. They're putting 4 beats in the middle of the fray, but there's another toxin right there. It doesn't save the Viper, but 4 beats he's able to sustain in this fight. Standing their ground, sticking together, and dealing the damage. This is what the Deckers wanted to do from the start. They don't have a way of stopping that TP out on the Dark Willow, but the defense successful.
Many high ground attempts fail. And we see it on both sides.
Yeah.
Wow. There was a buyback.
Dude, buybacks are literally the name of the game, Links. Like, everyone who buys back just wins the goddamn fight.
Yeah, we saw OD a little bit forward there, getting caught out early, but then the buyback, able to kind of come back and put the damage out on the team. It's back and forth, and now we're on the Radiant side again. The high ground.
And now they can come in, but they gotta watch out for that Spectre buyback. We saw what happened the last time Billsif popped that button. The Gyrocopter's still a big force to be dealt with, and where we see kind of the lapses in the draft, right? Once you lose your Viper or the Spectre, just one of those cores alone is not enough to actually kill anyone. You have major damage problems just because your Centaur doesn't have that capability, compared to the Tiny, who has so many avalanches to throw out over and over with the Octarine core. And I think to a certain extent, he probably managed to get a tossed Kanda like break onto one of these heroes. That's how he got them in the end. So this Tiny offlane, it has done really well for them, not just in the lane, but even in this stage of the game, setting up one more kill. Yules into the Stampede, back out to safety, but they get themselves a second lane of Rags. Now all that remains is the top tier 2 and the top lane of Rags.
They're going to back it off here. They still have the tier 2 for the top lane.
Yeah.
Turtle was used, but they do have the Warlock ult.
I'd like to see a Disperser here for 4 beats. I think it would be really good for him because right now he is dealing with a lot of funky stuff. Whether it's the Brambles on the ground or the slows from the Viper and the Warlock, it's very hard for him to navigate the fight post BKB. I just feel like he could probably, like, the Butterfly amps up his damage, but right now what he needs is to make sure he's in and out. Because as long as he can get in the middle of the fight, press Satanic and press his flat cannon, he's not dying. Just needs to hit all these heroes. The illusions can also be a good target for him to lifesteal off of. Smoke move out on both sides. Big AD rune potentially for them to grab, but oh no, 4 beats. He's in the line of fire. Getting spotted out by the Centaur. On the high ground, gonna jump in. Where's the follow-up? 4 beats popping that BKB. Needs help, needs to turn around and Satanic, but he can't lifesteal enough. Crimson Guard will prevent that damage, and the Gyrocopter is dead.
What a clutch pick off there. I mean, just a brief moment where the Gyro's on their own.
Yeah. And honestly, maybe a bit of a lapse there in the Decker's team comms, because once you're up 2 lanes of Rags, if Mega Creeps are pushing into the base and you don't see any enemy heroes, you have to know they're doing something. Especially on a team with, like, even a Spectre, right? If the Spectre is the only one showing in the base, his team could be out on the map. These are just things you need to be prepared for. Linken's gonna block that. Nice rock counter initiation. Big stun. Locks up both sides. Stampede now committed as Super Nintendo Chalmers, wanting to take this fight. Silent start. Strilling still surviving, and now Softmoon taking the full brunt of the Viper's auto attacks. Oh my goodness, the damage onto this tiny Bilsif has shown up into the fray. Still a good stun. Softmoon being slowed down, shielded up, and will manage to escape. This tiny is absurdly tanky. Able to blink up to the high ground. Not wanting to use the buyback on the gyro just yet. The discipline pays off, and they'll be able to escape scot-free.
They are getting their meat value out of this tiny. That was a massive amount of damage just absorbed.
Yeah. One of the concepts that I think are frequently discussed in Dota 2 is like effective HP, right? Like, even if you have like 2000 HP, if you have a bajillion armor and you have a bajillion magic resist, it essentially is like double that. And that's kind of what you get as a benefit of going insurmountable. You're at this stage of the game where the Tiny, he has absurd levels of slow resistance and status resistance just because of his strength gain. I mean, right now his status resist is 15% just for free from the facet, and he has a 50% slow resist. This is with no items giving him that naturally, by the way. Like, sometimes you might see like a Kaya Sanj on a carry Tiny, maybe just to further amp that up. And not just to mention that, he also has an Idol of Skuriak. So once he pops that Idol of Skuriak, he gets an additional 50% slow resistance. This guy is not going to be slowed whether you like it or not.
Low protection.
Yeah. He's got to go fast.
It's kind of like
at
the
least
Warlock.
medium speed. Like, Tiny's not really the quickest, right? But
Yeah, but
it's not gonna be
definitely
slow.
it's in the kit of the Radiant team that, like, they want those slows to be effective. The Warlock,
Yeah.
the Viper, the Dagger on the Spectre.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was thinking about the Disperser as well, because a lot of those slows are tied to these debuffs, right? Like the damage, or like all these little sticky things that are thrown on the ground. And I think that'll actually help the Gyrocopter navigate. But he's gone for that, yeah, or at least he's going for that refresher after the Aghanim. So double BKB, double Satanic is what he's hoping for. Starting to reach those level 25 talents, so that's kind of a big deal. So Spectre Illusion damages up to max. Everyone gets Retaliate because of the Retaliate aura. I don't know whether I agree with this. The Viper went for the 50% Viper Strike mana cost and cooldown. So he has that available like every 15 seconds, which is huge because he can probably rip 3 or 4 in the fight. And these fights have been going long, right? He stands there for what feels like forever. So maybe this is ultimately better for him. He's got a lot of survivability. Maybe he's thinking he needs that damage.
Retaliate order on the Centaur.
Yeah. It's nice. I mean, every single one of the Buyback Street Boys heroes has immense amounts of HP, right? You're talking about the Viper, you're talking about the Spectre. We already mentioned the concept of EHP. So now that you're also retaliating and dealing damage back, it could be a bit of a problem here for the gyrocopter.
Does the flat cannon proc that retaliate damage?
Yerp, because it counts as a regular auto attack. So the gyro's gonna have to be a bit careful. I think he might find that he's not life stealing quite as much, right? Because between that, the retaliate damage and the Crimson Guard, like, and all this armor that they're now stacking up on the side of the Radiant.
Looking good for him.
Yeah.
Vector has the heart.
It still
now,
should be
too.
fine. It still should be fine. I think it's really just about how the fight starts. Like, the key thing about these high ground defenses is that the Deckers, they clearly weren't like broken, right? The formation was intact. They used Soft Moon as that meat shield that you mentioned on the front lines. Whether this was intentional or not with the facet choice, either way, I have to applaud it because it's working out big time. And that's kind of what they need to play for. You talk about the level 25 talents also being hit on the side of the Dire. So Soft Moon now has the -8 second avalanche. He throws out avalanches every 4.5 seconds.
Insane. It's
That
only
is
like
that is crazy. You have level 25 on your Lion, so you have 250 AoE hex, which is going to be very massive against the Spectre Illusions especially, to prevent some of that damage from coming out. OD level 25, 60 centi's Eclipse cooldown, so he has that on a 1-minute cooldown. Strilling is getting her ass handed to her by this Roche. I don't know why. She's like trying to pick a fight. I don't get it.
just trying to casual solo Roshan while making the traverse.
Maybe just like getting a bit bored, you know, she hasn't been in a fight for a while. She's like, yo, I'm trying to square up. Okay. I will say though that Buyback Street Boys, they have really, really good vision on the Dire jungle side. And this might actually be the difference maker, allowing them to get a jump. As we can see, Deckers maybe have finally learned their lessons and are grouping up for the most part. But with this vision, they can try and perhaps isolate a target. It'll be the Gyro to show on the top lane first. Watch yourself, 4 beats.
Over here.
It's a bit of a wraparound. Stampede comes through. Offlaner for offlaner, both blink out though. Meanwhile, on the left side of the fight, 4 beats gonna get slowed down. Initiated on Strilling there with the save. No one to hit though. 4 beats in trouble. Big Rock stunning up everybody. 4 beats, he's dropping way too low. He needs the help of the Avalanche starting to come out. Soft Moon is there to bail him. And there's the ultimate. Trading a support by support for now. 4 Fates, his Aghanims is gonna pop, but they just can't quite cut through him just yet. Soft Moon's gonna come through with a second Avalanche, but Gyro's had to disengage in the fight. He's now rejoining the fray, coming through with the damage, but he's being controlled on the backline. The Centaur's keeping him at bay, and Billsif's able to shred up the entire side of Deckers, even through that Satanic, even through all those BKPs. Super Nintendo Chalmers still able to escape, and now it's a 1v1 of these carries, but it's not a fair fight. With the help of the stun, we've mentioned it time and time again, Beats cannot do it alone, and he will kill himself on the dispersion.
That could have gone either way. But
Yeah.
it went for the way of the Dire, and now they're gonna approach this high ground.
We got buybacks available on the Deckers, a glyph used initially to try and buy some time. But you're probably gonna lose at least 2 lanes of racks, if not even mega creeps, if you don't expend a buyback. Have to try and use one maybe on the OD or the Gyro. I mean, it's a 2v4 up here. Maybe Billsif is not going to feel comfortable enough to try and go for that second lane of racks. Now, who am I kidding? He literally has heart. He's going to go up there.
Buybacks
There you
are
go.
available. That's kind of what they want to see. They just want to poke out a few buybacks, get
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, the key difference maker in that fight was 2 things, right? First, we already mentioned the vision, so I'm not going to go over that again. But Rex Cow, big rock to stop the counter initiation from Deckers from coming in. Because Soft Moon, he was just entering the fight, and 4 Fates was starting to enter the fight as well. The rock stops them in their tracks. 4 Beats is forced to a health pool that he just can't comfortably stand his ground in. So for the rest of the fight, even though he does survive, he's basically a non-factor. And the second part is the fight starts with the Centaur trying to wrap around. Even though he doesn't catch the Tiny on the stun, he wastes the blink of the Tiny, and the Tiny blinked backwards. So he's that much further away from the fight. We talk about this 4.5 second avalanche. It just was not there. If it was able to be thrown out even once or twice, Beats would be able to just go ham. Again, they need to be a bit more wary of how their opponents are moving. It feels like Deckers are being continuously caught out whenever they get jumped. It's almost like they don't expect that their opponents are on the move when they are.
Arcane Rune in the rivers. Killing Newt. Catching out Centaur.
He's going to turn around with the Stampede, look towards Strilling. Having to pop that borrowed time early is not a good look, and looks like Strilling might just be the one left behind. Beats now on the high ground, Rock to keep him in place. He's trying to lifesteal up again, managing to do so, but the refresh Pilsiv's going to come in. Second ultimate there from the OD. 4 Beats still surviving, but Softmoon might not be quite as lucky. Buybacks coming out from the Buybacks bros. Aghanim's pop for forfeits. He's run out of options, but still able to blink to the left because the blink doesn't get cancelled through that. Bear going to be able to escape with that Shadow Realm turnaround for a big terrorize onto 2 into the stun. They're still looking for their targets, but 4 Beats this time round, he's able to just keep delivering. Still have the backup of the shield, trying to wait it out to the very last moment. But the buyback bros, they've come in, they've used these buybacks, and again, they find themselves in the fray and winning the fight. Bear surviving there with the Aghanims, allows the Dark Willow to reposition and get the damage out.
Oof, what a fight. There were buybacks coming out. Oh. They're going to fight it up here on the high ground.
One final play here for Fates. He's at risk of dropping, has the Astro imprison himself. Softmoon trying to keep them at bay, but the Viper DPS is starting to stack up. Nobody's stopping RIP from just punching away, and now you don't have that ultimate. Oh, the OD. It's just not been a good showing from him. And now Viper versus Gyro, you just don't have the attack speed into double Nether Toxin. This is looking over here. Softmoon will get clicked down. A buyback, but it's just him and Comedy Bronze against the wall. And even the Stampede just to get the counter initiation. Super Nintendo Chalmers jumps in and rips that lion's head off. So much for King of the Jungle. It's the horse in your face, and Strilling's gonna be the one to call it. First game goes over to Buyback Bros off of the fact of a lot of very nicely used buybacks.
I mean, it was going one way, then another way, then another way. Like, great fight on both teams. 45 to 43. That was on the wire.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit of a tough pill to swallow, because when you come out in your first first game of the entire season, right, and you're still trying to smoothen things out, of course there is that argument to be made that you were mentioning, Links, that you're still going to have these teething issues, especially if you're a new stack. But then you want to try and alleviate that by picking heroes that you're comfortable with. So we have that signature Comedy Bronze Lion, we have that signature 4 Beats Gyrocopter, and they did get off to a really good start off of the back of the off-lane stand-in. So you would think that, okay, because of that, they should be geared up to execute in the late game. But throughout the mid-game to the late game, it just felt like they weren't really on the same page yet. I'm not really sure what the structure of the team is, but then maybe there are some comms things or just map assignment things that you need to work through. Buyback Street Boys, because of the way their draft was set up, the Spectre and the Centaur could always assist and always connect to their team. And I think that was kind of what made the big difference. The buybacks as well, right? You think about a buyback for a Centaur, and then he's able to just kind of stampede in and rejoin his team. Same situation for the Spectre, who can just rejoin the game or rejoin the fight in an instant. That was what kind of set these two teams apart.
Yeah, it really seemed like the positioning was like determining which way the fights were going to go. And that's one thing when playing Centaur, like having that ultimate to be able to just wrangle your whole team into a fight and to get them into position. That's a massive skill that I think is often overlooked. I mean, the Viper is like this Viper build has just been terrorizing the meta, I feel like. A little bit. It's just a little bit unconventional from what we've been seeing. A hero that can just plop itself into the middle of a fight, and if you don't have the magic immunity, the attack slows, the amount of magic resist that this hero gets, like it's unexpected. I mean, I was worried. I was looking at it. In my book, Spectre has the late game advantage over Gyro. But what you say with like Gyro needing the team to kind of bring it together, to kind of make sure they're in the right positions, to make sure the Gyro is free to just keep right-clicking and right-clicking to get the damage out. It's positioning. It's so much of it.
I just think that, like, on paper, you have a Tiny and you toss the Viper out of Nether Toxin and burst him down, right? Because like the Centaur didn't go Eggs. He ended up going Wind Waker for himself. So maybe in a different game, if the Centaur has Eggs, he BKBs, blinks in, saves the Viper, so your initiation is moot. But from the very get-go, the Decker's lineup is all about blowing up a hero. You have that Finger of Death, you have the tiny burst damage, you have even the ultimate of the OD. But I just feel like we didn't see the OD get as much done as he needed to, right? In a lot of these fights, it felt like he was a side factor. He would be imprisoning some heroes. Sometimes he would just be randomly imprisoning illusions as well. And I kind of understand why it was difficult because it felt like every single time Bilsif pressed his ultimate and illusions started to spawn, whatever initial game plan that Deckers were going for would just go straight out the window. Right, there'll be so many illusions. They'd start panicking. They'd start trying to retreat, maybe blink away, start to use spells on illusions instead of heroes. And you look at like Warlock and like Dark Willow, they're just so happy about that. They're standing in the back lines, free casting their spells. No one's threatening them at all. It felt like it was a much easier game for Buyback Street Boys to play, just because of some of maybe the mistakes and decision making, I guess lapses that the Deckers were dealing with.
I mean, that's a game mechanic that's just like not in the numbers. Like the illusion chaos. You put out a bunch of illusions, and then it's like you can have all the items, all the damage on your team, but if you can't see what's going on and what's happening and not able to make a very quick decision on all these different illusions that are around you, it's like it can make a big difference.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the Deckers, they did a really, really good job succeeding with this draft in the early game. Like, have to give them their props. I think they did a great job. For Fates, he was finding really good openings in the mid lane, dominating the Viper. But once it got to the early mid game and the mid game itself, taking some of these team fights, like the team being split, like it really is a bit of a joke, but like that's kind of what we saw, right? The whole proximity chat thing. Like Gyro would be like, oh, I'm just gonna push out this wave. You guys are behind me, right? And then suddenly a Centaur initiates and we're looking at the tiny blinking away while his Gyro is like dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like one person has to be listened to. Like somebody has to be saying, okay, we're standing around here. What are we standing around here for? Because at a certain point, I think Deckers learned that lesson. They were like, oh, we can't split up anymore. But then they'd all just be standing around and no one would kind of be clear on how a fight would start or what were they going to do. Okay, Stampede's going to come in and Viper's nose diving. Are we focusing the center? Are we focusing the Viper? Are we jumping the backline on the spots? It felt like none of those things were really discussed. They were just like, okay, let's try and press our spells. And that's just not good enough, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it shakes up in a very, like Viper, the Agnum Scepter gives the Viper two pools. I mean, you can account for one pool, but then if the Viper has that other pool in its cooldown just ready to go,
yeah,
that initiation could go south. And
it's not even that like at some points it wasn't even about the Nether Toxin, right? RIP was just standing there right clicking the shit out of them. Like he was, and he had that shard really early. He went for somewhat a right click build in the end, like going for the Hurricane Pipe, which is a very normal build, but I think him maxing up on his survivability and defensiveness was the right play in the end. Because Viper is a type of hero that can stack up damage if you give him time, like regardless of what items he's gone for. So all that matters to him is survival. So I was talking about how Buyback Street Boys, they might run into damage issues, but you don't really have damage issues if you survive long enough to kill them anyway, and they can't do the same.
just looking at the retaliate damage, I guess every hero has a value of it.
I don't think so. I think it's all
high.
attributed to the Centaur only.
Uh,
Actually, I'm not too sure. I need to check that because
you might be right.
I
Yeah,
don't
think
know
you're right.
whether the
I'm
retaliate aura
looking at
calculates based off
Stampede.
the hero's, like, the hero strength or Centaur strength. Because if it did Centaur strength, that'll be busted as fuck.
Centaur counters all dealing damage extra, a fixed amount percentage of your strength, so Centaur's strength. I think.
Yeah, but then if
Right,
you
but
give
if
that
the-
aura to someone else, it might be their strength. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think this is calculating what's everybody. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
let me check real quick.
Yeah, because the other heroes don't have that value on their damage.
Okay, yeah, it calculates based off their own strength. So because I'm spawning like a centaur, like a level 30 centaur next to a level 1 clockwork.
Mhm.
And when you hit the level 1 clockwork, you take like 50 damage from retaliate, and when you hit the level 30 centaur, you take like 100
Okay,
freaking
yeah.
retaliate damage. So it still is a big deal, right? We saw a lot of times in the fights where we maybe would have expected 4 beats to be like life stealing back up to full. He would still survive, but then these heroes just were not dying quite as quick as you would want.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's-
It's a little sad. I kind of feel like this was one of those games where it was like the deckers to lose, but at the same time, I recognize they had a really difficult draft. Like it was not easy in the slightest. So
Mhm, mhm. I feel like various times both teams felt strong.
yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm making it sound a lot easier than it actually is. I'm not trying to say that it's easy. I'm just saying that I I thought that with the heroes that I saw, they were gonna play a certain way. So it was kind of confusing to me that it felt like they didn't really have that same idea because I couldn't really identify what else that idea might be.
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe they thought that they would have the late game or like most of the mid late game advantage until the Spectre reaches critical mass, but I think we very quickly learned that this Spectre is going to be a problem even in mid game, right? The illusion chaos is just overwhelming.
Yeah, you mentioned you'd like the Radiance. Um,
I really like the BKB. I really, really
yeah,
like
we
the
saw it
BKB.
come out when I think it was the first reveal around the 35-minute mark
Yeah.
when he had Aegis. Yeah. And that fight was huge. 35-minute mark. That was probably, well, I mean, it's hard to tell in the graph. The graph seems pretty stuck on the side of the team that ended up losing, which goes to show that there's so many numbers and factors in Dota that it's like trying to predict which way it's going to go.
Yeah, I think you like whenever you look at Dota buff, they're like Dota buff win probability is always trying to account for okay, there's these items on these heroes, and
Mhm.
in a 5-5 fight, when they press this spell, is it going to work? Right? Like can you kill like if everybody presses their spells, which heroes are gonna die?
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of what made it look closer, but in reality, with the way that the game was being executed, we know that it didn't really feel that close a lot of the times for the deckers. Like even when like they were getting the advantage on the deckers, it was like fleeting moments of when they were playing together.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know if you wanted to take a break here, but it seems like they're just going in, so
I'm okay. I'm okay to keep going.
okay.
You're good?
Yeah. I might have to dip in 1.5 hours. So if this goes to game 3, I might not be able to.
Oh, it does go to game 3, doesn't it? I'm still thinking playoffs where it's best of 2.
Wait, no. I think it's 2 games. I think it's BO2
Is it just best of
until
2?
playoffs.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I don't remember. I'm like the worst fucking admin that exists.
I hope it's only best of 2 because that's kind of how we scheduled our.
Yeah. I'm sure you're right. You're a responsible captain that knows what you're talking about. I'm
Hopefully.
like just
Hopefully I'm a
I'm a
responsible
fucking
captain.
I'm a tourist. Like
All right, game 2. I mean, this is going to be chaos. We're going to see how either of these teams are going to adjust their
Radiant
draft.
Span.
I mean,
I mean,
what do
what
you
do you think
think?
about what went wrong? Because you feel like from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you
Radiant
thought
Span.
or you felt like both these teams had like ample opportunities to lose. But I feel like for most of the game when I was watching it, it
Only
just felt like
10
Buyback Street Boys
seconds.
were like just
Hmm,
making better
Dive Ban.
decisions.
hmm.
Like there was this one moment, I think like they got a kill in the bot lane on Bill Save, and then they
10
smoked, went
seconds
through
to
the
kill
twin gate,
Span.
came out, wrapped around and got another kill. Like that looked great.
Hmm.
But then like that was as far as like the team play from the deckers went, you know?
Yeah.
Only 10 seconds.
I
A
just
lot
feel
of
bad for the deckers as well
5
because I think
seconds
like the
until
Lion played out of his mind. Like there's so many 2-3 man stuns.
yeah. We've got a ban on the Viper. We're not going to see Viper in this game.
10 seconds to pick.
Beautiful.
Beastmaster coming out as a reoccurring ban.
5 seconds. Hurry, hurry.
I mean if they go with what they did last game, it's gonna be another Visage ban. I don't know whether Visage is something they need to be scared about though. But I'd love to be proven wrong.
Very
I feel
niche,
like
right?
watching good Visage games is pretty fun because you rarely see the hero, right?
Yeah. Razor Ban.
Okay.
10 seconds to pick.
Are they gearing up for a hopefully lone druid? I feel like
5
Razor is the
seconds
hero that you consider. No, sorry, lone druid would be on the Deckers. I misthinking that.
I feel like this game Proud's just gonna ask for Lone Druid like in second phase if they don't ban it. Cause like they waited, I guess, until the last pick. I don't know whether it was decided from the get-go that Proud would be the one playing the Tiny. Maybe it was one of those things because you're working with a stand-in, right?
Mhm.
And you're a captain, so you should be able to you probably have thoughts on this as well, but when you are working with a stand-in, what's your approach to trying to include them in the draft? Because if there are two ways it could have gone, right? Maybe Proud is like, I'm so giga flexible, it doesn't matter, and then they only decided to give him the Tiny after. Or it's the alternative, and he's like, I want to play Tiny, and they just pick it, and then they get it out the way first.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables. Like, how many versatile players do you have on the team? Some players, they play one, two positions. That's what they're comfortable with. That's what they rock. You don't really have much option in terms of putting them in. Me personally, as a captain, I like to challenge my players a little bit, which maybe is not great
Damn.
for the win rate, but I like to see players playing a lot of different outside their comfort zone. We got Warlock again. Is this on the same side,
10
Backstreet
seconds
Boys?
to pick.
Yeah,
they-
Rex
yeah,
Carl was playing it
yeah.
previously. I don't know what is with this Drow
5
Ranger
seconds.
open though. It
Hurry,
just tells me
hurry.
that
Radiant
Beats wants to
stand.
get his hero pick out of the way and that's it. Like
That's a commitment.
Yeah, the thing is, you pick this Drow Ranger so early, it just opens up the rest of the draft because, yeah, okay, at this point, I'm gonna ban Spectre to protect this Drow.
Mm.
Okay, like there's still a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff that could abuse it, you know? Like,
Mhm.
Only 10 seconds.
I don't think the two bans are gonna be enough for you.
5
I'm just trying to think about what kind of offlane, like if you draft something like a kill lane on your offlane, it could be really, really scary. And even something like maybe an easy Crimson builder, like an Underlord, right? I'm thinking Underlord, someone who can just kind of stand in lane against the Drow and like maybe even push her out.
Mhm.
Only 10
Are you an
seconds.
offlane? Are you an offlane player?
So I play
5
every
seconds.
role
Hurry,
equally
hurry.
in a weird
Okay.
sort of way.
All right.
Like
All right.
mathematically, like if you look at my percentages, it's
That's crazy.
kind of in a weird way.
You're actually that's actually insane behavior. Not gonna lie.
It is. I
But I
actually
respect it.
I queue every role before I queue the same role again.
That's
Which
mad. That's
kind of
mad.
maybe griefs other people, but that's how I like playing.
10 seconds to pick.
And what have you found from that? Do you find that you have a best
5
role
seconds
maybe?
remain.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely lean more into support.
Okay.
I feel like I do well doing more with less.
And what's your worst role? Would you
Pause
say?
one. Pause one. I don't have a good gauge of when to fight and when not to fight. And I think good
Okay.
pause ones are able to like focus in on scooping up all the farm, becoming that very big raid boss, but then showing up at just the right time.
All right. This is the response. The X to come out on the off lane. That's what they want into the Drow Ranger. It is okay. I mean, it really depends what you pair it with, right? I'm thinking like if you go X Skyref,
10
X
seconds to
Wind
pick.
Ranger, this Drow is cooked with a capital C.
5 seconds. Hurry, hurry.
I like the X pick. I mean, anything that likes Blade Mail in their kit is gonna feel good against Drow, I think.
Yeah. It's a bit awkward though because like with the axe, you want to get up close and personal, getting the call off and then the blade mail. But the second you're next to the drow, she does considerably less damage to you. But so it's kind of like
Mm.
it's a whole weird thing. Like you cancel out marksmanship and whatnot compared to maybe something like a carry Mueta or carry SF. Like those guys are gonna kill themselves on the spot, right?
Mhm.
I don't know whether you have that same explosive damage from Drow coming out. A lot of her damage comes from like multiple attacks stacking up, maybe the Aghanims proccing as well. There's the clockwork as I want to say insurance in the lane
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
Really nice into the axe as well.
When I saw the Drow, the hero that came into my brain was Clockwork, but on the other team thinking to get on top of her. So it's a
Right.
nice kind of like to remove that
10
option
seconds.
for the buyback Street Boys.
Yeah, you also always want a melee bodyguard in the lane, whether it's like Trien, Ogre, Trien, Ogre, Clockwork. I feel like those are the big ones. We've seen Undying Drow in the past as well,
Mhm.
but this is likely the Strilling hero if she's going 5, I want to say. You also have the Lion still available, but I wonder whether they feel good about that still.
I mean, Axe kind of like if you're against an Axe, you want a Yules to kind of stop that jump, all the damage coming out of the jump. Also, what I'd like to see on the Decker's side is some way to maybe cancel blinks easily.
I like this Venge pick though. We haven't really been seeing this hero a lot, but this is like a classic combo, right? The Drow Venge. We have seen some iterations of it be Venge on the offlane. I'm not sure how I feel about Venge support these days. It feels a bit clunky for sure. Very much like the Venge offlane because you rush that Axe, and then even if you get blown up in the fight, like first, you still have that second life, second salvo of spells to play more defensively. So you use the first swap, get yourself into an awkward position, throw a couple of spells out, you die, and then you can reposition and try and get the Drow Ranger either another kill, or if needed, you can back up and try and swap the Drow Ranger to safety if needed. Overall, it's just great defensive utility into Warlock and Axe who want to jump a target that's exposed and blow them up.
And the W is a good blink counter as well. If you can get it off in a good range to stop a blink, that's probably what I'm watching for.
Yeah, 100%.
I've played Vengeful Spirit support, and like it's a kind of hero that you don't want to be on your back feet. If you're ending up having to just like constantly just be swapping yourself in, your net worth is poor, you're just swapping yourself in to save your cores, but
Yeah.
they end up dying anyway, it's like it feels bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because Venge also, as a support, unless you have a very obvious kill combo, you don't really do much. Like, you're not... It's not like you scout or you can't really farm a wave. You can die pretty easily if you're just in the lane by yourself. So I'm interested to see how they make this one work. Buyback Street Boys, they're playing for that long-range spell casting. They're using the Axe to go in with a Grimstroke. He's going to come through with a nice Soulbind, and then Thunder God's Wrath going to rip everyone up. So I'm already a bit concerned for the Deckers. If this is a Venge offlane, you're not going to have a Pipe Builder. You go for the Dragon Knight in the mid. So something to counteract some of this magic damage. Maybe we'll see a Dragon Knight Blink Mage Slayer or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the Grimstroke
Good tower
ults,
pressure though.
like double fatal bonds, that works right. Grimstroke ult, double fatal bonds.
Yep. It's gonna be disgusting.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for the Deckers and their front line.
They need Dispel, and Dragon Knight doesn't really build into Dispel. Actually, none of these supports built into Dispel. You're not seeing any Greaves buyers, any Yules buyers, any Lotus Orbs. Like, it's gonna be bad. The closest thing you have to a Dispel is Drow Ranger Manta. But then if you're getting double Fatal Bonds off, then the illusions will just get caught as well. This is very concerning. I'm not sure whether the Deckers have addressed what they see from Buyback Boys well enough. On their end, they have a pretty solid draft in terms of a game plan, right? They are going to group up behind the Dragon Knight. He's kind of the secondary carry to make action happen in the early stages, perhaps with his Blink and these two supports. I just wonder how the damage numbers are going to look. You have some squishy heroes on Buyback Street Boys. So if you jump them, they'll probably die. There's no save. But at a certain point, these guys are not going to be showing. And then all you'll see is the Axe and probably the pause one coming out that I foresee being a bit more of a frontliner to jump this Drow.
They banned the Lifestealer Naga Siren. What are we looking at, like, for a carry here?
I mean, you either want something that can outrange the Drow, or you want something that can jump in and kill the Drow who's not too worried about the silence. So you're looking at a Manta buyer. Perhaps I want to even say something like you could do Clinks. You could do Clinks to try and outfight her. You could do Luna Slark. Terrorblade's pretty nice as well. Just because you have high physical. I mean, right now they have like 0 magic damage on the Deckers. That's the main thing, right? So if you pick a high armor hero like the Terrorblade, you're not really going to be super concerned. Of course, there's always the concept of like Drow cutting through your armor, but it's not really that big of a deal because Drow can never stand and fight you. Honestly, you could even go back for the Spectre. I wouldn't hate it too much. You got Spectre Zeus.
Yeah.
Oh, they banned the Spectre. I'm blind.
Ember Spirit. Okay.
Okay, this is good. This is what they needed. They
Yeah.
need. This is probably going to be a Dragon Knight off lane, because if it's a Dragon Knight mid, I feel like you don't get enough done in the early game to keep them at bay. So now you have Ember mid, you have those chains, they're going to be absurdly annoying to deal with, and then you can get that follow-up from the clock and the bench. This is going to be the guy we look at. Forfeits has to make things happen for the team. He wasn't really able to do so last game on the OD, so I want to see a bit more action from him.
Dragon Knight offlane. Would do buyback Street Boys pick for their lane against a Dragon Knight?
Oh, it's a little bit tricky. I guess whatever you pick is not going to suffer too bad because you have a Warlock anyway.
Mhm.
There's a Slug. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So Slug doesn't care about what anything the deckers have. Like, the only thing that might catch you off guard is a silence from, like, Fog. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like Bilsif has, like, the freest game of his life. He just needs to make the right decisions in terms of items. I wouldn't even be too sad to see him go for early Manta, to be honest, because the only things that get him are like a blink stun from Dragon Knight. That if he's in dragon form, you can Manta dodge that illusion, you can Manta dodge the Venge illusion, you can Manta dodge from the slight chains.
Mhm.
Beats is actually not going chain gang, he's going double impact. I don't really know if I like that very much.
Remind me again, Chain again? Oh, he switched. He heard you.
Mashallah, thank you. Basically, Ember at the moment is one of the 5 most contested heroes in Pro Dota for this reason. Chain Gang is absurd. It helps you fight, it helps you farm, it helps you constantly disable heroes on the backline and put out a lot of damage. Even if you're into a Slug who can shrug it off, the cooldown is low enough that even if you consistently chain gang him and he shrugs it off, you're still doing a lot of damage. So you need that bit of control. This is kind of how you play Ember now. The double hit is like... It's kind of buying into the old school Ember Battle Fury Sleight of Fist crit everyone down dream that doesn't really work out anymore.
Yeah. All right, we're going into game 2 now. I didn't do
Hat
introductions. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. My bad. Hat draft.
Let's destroy it.
The Zeus
I mean, that
stands out
Zeus
to
set
me.
goes hard.
Yeah, it really does. That is...
But I kind of like what we got on Radiant a bit more this game. They got a humble Ember Spirit. Oh, they're switching things up. Fates is gonna play carry while Beats is gonna play mid. Huh.
You
I
know,
mean, this
you
is a
know
bit of a
these-
shot bag.
you know these two
That's
players
so-
quite well. What's your take on that?
I don't like it at all. I feel like Forfeits is the default sacrificial mid lane player. Right? Like, you give him a hero like Pudge, you give him a hero that doesn't really need to scale, just runs in and gets kills, and that's kind of where he does his best work. So putting him on a hero like Drow that requires supreme positioning, very good restraint on which fights you take, no overextensions. I just don't feel like those are his strong suits as a player. You want him to be on this gung-ho hero backed up by your allies. I don't really know. I don't really agree with this, but we'll see. Beats also, I think he's played a lot less Dota this season overall compared to last season. And even last season, he was just spamming +1, right? He rarely plays mid. He is very comfortable with this Ember, and it kind of makes sense that he had that double hit facet because he was one of the old school Ember players playing that Battle Fury build back when it could be played carry and all that shit from the mid lane. But we'll see. I don't know how practiced Beats is with this hero.
Wait, it's 2 additional targets?
Yep. You can always chain gang 4 people if all of them are standing there. And I think the big thing about this facet is it allows Ember to actually influence the fight without having to go in. In the past, you'd need to rely on Sleight of Fist, but now you can actually throw your remnants, chain first, and wait for a reaction. I think that's kind of the big deal. Your remnant can chain as well, so it just unlocks so many flexible options for you.
In terms
Yeah,
of
isn't that kind of busted?
advantage, where are you seeing advantage in how they've shooken out their lanes here?
I think this axe should be very free. Strilling is going to do nothing to pressure the Super Nintendo Chalmers. Drow is typically a decent laner, but you kind of need to get a good angle onto Uh-Oh Bear and start laying some arrows in. Striling's gonna have a rough time, right? Already she's chewing through these tangles because they're just gonna spam Battle Hunger. I think one of the underrated things about Grimstroke actually is his innate, but as I say that, Uh-Oh Bear putting himself in a very weird spot for honestly no reason. Okay, well, sure, you can give over a free kill, I guess. You prevent the pull, technically, but even if Strilling pulled that small camp, it's a bunch of kobolds, they're not going to last for long. So, I don't know whether that was necessary, but Drow getting off to a good start.
It's a level of...
Didn't that look weird to you? Like, didn't that like why did he...
Yeah, absolutely. I would never approach a clockwork. That hero is a little bit scary if it's right next to you.
Because the thing is, even if you did manage to get out of that cogs and survive, you'd basically be on like 3 HP.
They might pick up another kill
dead
here.
Again. Yeah, okay, cool. So, I really dislike what I'm seeing here from the offlane from Buyback Boros, because the way you're supposed to play with this axe is the position 5 can never trade with your position 4. Because every single time Strilling tries to walk up to like Uh-Oh Bear, you just do exactly what Super Nintendo Chalmers just did. The fact that he has more than 200 mana on that axe means that he's not using that spell enough. Because you should just be spamming that shit off cooldown. So I don't really... I mean, now you're gonna have to walk of shame on the Grimstroke back. It's not really affecting the axe, but you're giving this Drow so much room in the lane where she otherwise honestly should not have.
With action, top lane. Sif getting a bit low. Not much mana on the Warlock at the moment.
Yeah.
And they did manage to
This is one
get
of the rare lanes where like the Warlock cannot actually trade into the 2 heroes that he sees, because there's so much overwhelming like right-click physical damage that comes out. So all he has to do is just like spam heal. God damn. I think Rexcal might be dead here if they line up a stun. Okay, didn't have it available, I guess.
Yeah, what do you think of that synergy? A corrosive dragon with the reduce armor on Venge. That's quite impressive.
Yeah. I mean, we already saw this synergy in the draft, right? They are clearly going for like a very physical damage lineup, which is why I like the Ember. I think it fills in the gap of where they were missing magic. You can see that Rexcal is literally having to Shadow Word Bilsif off cooldown to even keep him like standing in the lane. We're not even talking about fighting. We're not even talking about like feeding for like you can't do that. 2 levels saltwater shift? Why?
Yeah, I don't even level this thing because the legacy key on it is whack. It's like L or something.
Okay, look. I understand why Bilsif read that ability and he's like 2 points in it will be cool, right? Because in theory, oh, I can steal the regen from the Dragon Knight's Dragon Blood. It's high. But it doesn't like help you last hit. 2 levels in it is not gonna do anything for a long time. With the full reset, they're going to be able to run down the bench though. So that's still something you need to keep an eye out for, because Slark excels when he's full HP. If you get him at half HP or keep him low, he can't actually initiate. But this is the only time he's able to do so. CS is not suffering really bad as well. It looks like the Slark is having a really rough time, but overall he's still hitting creeps, right? He's not being completely shut out.
Yeah, kind of neck and neck with Drow.
Yeah, you just have to pounce it.
This is looking bad for the Slark. Double stun is always going to feel bad in lane.
Yeah.
When you're against it.
And it's the synergy, right? You wave and then you press corrosive like the Dragon Breath, and that because that's physical damage, it gets amped up.
Yeah.
So cool. I really like this as well. The Dragon Knight went for an early Blightstone, not really something that you see on offlane Dragon Knight. But I think Soft Moon, he's very clearly showing that he knows how to get the best of the traits in these lanes. It's 2 times now that him and Comedy Bronze have been able to just out-click and out-trade their opponents. Even into a Shadow Word, which is honestly really impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, dude, Soft Moon is level 5 and Bilsif is level 3. You got mana on the Dragon Knight, this Slark can die again.
Dire having trouble in the off or in the safe lane. Mid. Both mids now have their ultimate. Bit of mana missing on. I mean, you kind of expect to see the Ember Spirit controlling the runes.
Yeah. But I think what you don't really expect to see is 4Beats doing so well on the CS. The fact that he's able to just exert himself in this lane, it doesn't look like he is an unpracticed mid at all from what we're seeing right now. Okay, never mind. I say that and then he just randomly chains. My bad.
He's got the regen bottle rune. He can throw spells out.
You're true. Being a bit too harsh here.
Just practicing the finger.
Yeah. He's like making sure he's got his keybinds right and shit, you know.
Yeah.
Here comes the regen rune gank up to the top lane.
Radiant's courier
I think they saw the Ember walk on over here, so they might be aware. Rexcow still has the heal available, but Bilsif in trouble. They chain the stuns, but it doesn't matter. The slug will likely go down, still able to pounce away. Seriously? And now the TPN Beats is in a bit of trouble. He went for 3-level slide, and now he's gonna find himself in a real rough spot. Being chased down and will die. So much for being a practiced mid. That was a really rough gank to watch. And Bilsif, if he somehow still manages to escape here, my goodness, that was close. Soft Moon manages to click him down. Rexcal might get run over as well, but gets himself back to the safety of the tower. Meanwhile, Uh-Oh Bear able to chase down Comedy Bronze. Soft Moon, you need a stun. Oh, he kind of let that one go real quick.
There's the cogs.
Okay.
I'll secure it.
Strilling. What's going on? Wait for the stun. Hold it. Oh, you don't have the mana though. Okay. Oh, this has gotten really strange. Is Bilsif dead?
Oh. Risking it.
He's still going back in. And now Strilling is gonna come in for the kill on Rexcow. Change the aggro. No. Okay. Well, that was something. The Thunder God's Wrath was off cooldown the entire time, by the way. Just didn't want to use it. Okay. Well, despite all the shenanigans, the Slug is getting closer and closer to that level 6. Hopefully it ends up better for him this time. Like after that, you know, because this was like similar scenes, right? On the Spectre, he was getting his shit like slapped around. And then once he started getting involved in these kills on the spec with the Horn, it looked a lot better. So
We got a kill. That was on the mid.
hook shot reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kill only happens because Strilling is part of 6 kills overall. The Clockwork is a hero that's really hard to find, farm, and EXP on unless you're involved in these pickoffs. So the fact that Strilling's up there making an impact, I think that's what converts into this kill in the mid. Really nicely done. Yeah, I mean, similar scenes to game 1, right? Where the early game is going very nicely for the Deckers. Oh, gee. Woo!
Feeling a bit of vision there, I think. I guess Slurk knows.
Yeah, but he has level 6, he
Yeah,
should know.
yeah.
Like, this isn't
Almost
this isn't
level
news
6.
to him. Like, oh, he's not. Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
and they don't have the
Sorry, Bill.
passive early anymore.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. Slurk gone through some interesting changes. Out comes the dragon form. They're gonna try to make something happen here, but Dulcif's ready to fight. Has enough mana for the ultimate. Gonna take away some of that stat off the Dragonite, but is gonna have to run. Swap comes out to secure this kill.
Yeah, really nicely done. Ember's here as
comes
well.
4.
Comedy Bronze getting that damage resistance, surviving the Thunder God's Wrath. Still will get zipped down, but Uh-Oh Bear soon to follow as well. Strilling, he's caught two with the cogs.
Nice cogs.
Oh, what a clockwork play. And you really want to TP in for this?
Sterling's not backing
Okay.
down. Does not afraid.
Strilling, she's a beast actually. She does not give a shit. Like, you could have just given a chop over. Did she give the chop? Did he get caught of blood? No, he didn't.
No.
I think it must have been blocked by the infused raindrops because he didn't get any charges.
Yeah, it went on cooldown. Weird.
Wait, that was so funny. What the heck? Strilling.
Yeah.
Strilling my goat, actually. Setting up those 2 kills. That was
Yeah.
huge.
Middle tower is
Does not even turn around. Does not even think about turning around.
Yeah. She's like, what's surviving a fight? I don't know her.
I mean, that's the mentality of a support. That's like that's what you want in your supports: fearlessness, willingness to just be there in the front.
Yeah, one thing about Strilling, she ain't scared of shit, but here's a nice rotation through the twin gates from Chalmers. Not something that they expected, given they just saw the Axe in the top lane. And this is what you like to see. Using those twin gates, just catching your opponents off surprise. And now the TPs are coming through. Looks like Rexcal could be in trouble. You got yourself a golem to drop if you want it. It's just a Dragon Knight down here, though. He's got to watch himself. Ember's coming over, chaining up the creeps instead of the heroes.
Dire's top tower is under siege.
And the Deckers will back away from that, mostly scot-free, but the Drow just getting caught with her pants down, honestly. It really shouldn't happen.
Never refuse gold given.
Yeah, I think they saw the dragon form and thought maybe we just let that go for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Because why wouldn't you, right? Like,
Yeah, no
what's the
rush.
point of fighting into that? Half duration. Maybe Proud still wants to do a bit of damage to the tower. You have a hookshot available. Strilling's surveying the area, doing a little bit of investigating herself. They know she's there, though. I mean, they straight up ping her out.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
I mean, Beats has been doing a good job controlling the runes. Now he's getting himself an illusion. So that's gonna help him dispel some of the sticky, icky spells that come out from the Dire. And Spirit Vessel 3 charges already, right? So can continue to keep the action moving once he joins up with the team. Look at buyback, bro. Like buyback Street Boys, sorry. They're all just standing around here in the bot lane. I'm not sure what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, they kind of backed off from that fight, but then stalled a bit there. They're gonna make some move here in the mid.
Safety Remnant
Or
up to the
Beats
high ground.
able to get out.
Dire's bottom tower is being attacked.
It's
If
the-
there weren't any supports there, I think 4 Beats literally gets a solo kill. That's how strong Ember is right now. But also kind of a bit of a misuse on the illusion rune, right?
goes Slark. I'm gonna try to take the mid down, but the cogs ruining
Dude.
Slark's day.
Bill Save, no! 2-man silence. That's that Grimstroke effect we were talking about, and Bill Save's gonna start to go to work. 4 Beats, you gotta watch yourself. You got 30 HP. He still manages to slide down and get away. 4 Beats living on a sliver there. The support's
hit
still
range.
trying to chase down at least Comedy Bronze.
Don't get hit, Venge.
Super Nintendo Chalmers
get
is
it.
here as well. You gotta watch yourself. Finally, Fatal Bonds wears out. First chop, looking for the second. Rock still hounding Soft Moon, who's shown up to the fight. Both supports go down for Bilsif. You've used the Rock for that though, so I think overall on the Deckers, you're not too sad.
An exchange there deep into the Dire jungle. Slark choosing to go in. I think it was...
Oh, Blink. A catch out on the Dragon Knight. He is very tanky, but got a decent amount of damage. Inkswell's gonna pop. Damage gonna rain in. RIP will try and rip him up. Hookshot's gonna come
Ooh.
through, chop off the mark, but the
Not
Fatal
quite.
Bonds will get the last hit. Rex Cow finds the connection through the tree line. 4 Fates trying to chase on. Ember's here as well, looking for slight chains. Might just have to settle for the Grimstroke. Really, really big that the Axe survives there, and even bigger that they kill Soft Moon.
Good attempt to save with the hook shot. It was almost enough. The Dragon Knight. I mean, we're seeing Warlock in both of these games. It's that sort of counter initiation rock drop that
Dire's middle tower taking
then
damage.
creates a sudden shock in the original plans of the gank that's just seeing we're gonna see in this game and saw in the last game. Gravel working towards probably has the Yasha on courier. Working towards eggs. Maybe not.
Yeah, you're right. It's Axe.
Oh yeah, Yasha's there.
Maybe just a little.
Oh sorry. I
Yeah, the
didn't-
Yasha just for farm efficiency. That's about it.
The alacrity and the Yasha blended together in my eyes.
She needs 1 blade for each hand, you know.
So smoked up. They're gonna look for a kill here. Blink dagger on axe.
Yeah, he had that just now, and that's kind of what made the impact for them. So he wants to keep the train rolling. Get farm through the kills. Inkswell Oh, they
Not
expected the
wanting to
Dragon Knight to be
commit.
there. Now comes the Blink, but the Inkswell was a bit early. Here comes the TP. Soft Moon is absurdly tanky like we saw, and without the help of that Zeus, you're not going to be able to kill him. Ember Spirit looking on the backline, chaining up these supports. Billsif looking for a target. Ember still sliding away, trying to do the damage. Unfortunately, 4-beats, he's not as tanky, and Soft Moon runs in, allowing for the Grimstroke to keep the Ember control. Strilling on the backline though, doing a lot of work, and Soft Moon's not gonna win the fight. Billsif able to get the kill before going down. Strilling still doing a lot of work here, and Forfeits finally showing up, will be able to clean up. It's a full team wipe for the Deckers.
I mean, that looked a bit questionable jumping on the Dragon Knight, but it worked out for them. No, sorry, it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, you're like worked up for
No,
that.
no,
I'm
no,
looking
no,
at
no,
5
no,
euros
no.
going down. I'm like, I don't know.
No,
I don't know who's
I take
working
it
out
back.
for, brother.
I take it back.
Nah, but I do think that in this game we're seeing, like this second game, some things are starting to cement themselves, right? The first thing is that Soft Moon, he's really good at playing out this early game. The laning stage from him and Comedy Bronze usually top tier, but the problem comes in converting his strength into more. We've seen time and time again, whether it was the Tiny last game or whether it's the DK this game, he kind of ends up on a different page from the rest of them. And in this particular case, because the Deckers are able to respond to his strength and use that advantage, well, they win the fight. But it's still not as clean as it could be, right? You imagine that fight, how differently it would look if Beats played it perhaps a little bit more cautiously. One or two sort of missteps there. The Dragon Knight running up to try and chase actually gets the Grimstroke Soulbind onto Beats. He had a Remnant available but couldn't jump out to it because of that leash. So very, very small things that would have prevented an even bigger disaster. So I think Buyback Street Boys, they need to thank their lucky stars that they were still able to get something in that fight because it looked really bad. As a diffuser on Billsif, gonna jump onto this Clockwork that's higher level than him, by the way. Shadow Dance gonna come out. The magic damage is there. Strilling is dropping low. The last hit, they can't find it. You need a Battle Hunger. Super Nintendo Chalmers loses vision. Strilling juking into the trees will be able to outrun the poor Axe. But same for Billsif. There's the ultimate. Finds Strilling. And now Ember's on the wrong side of the fight. No mana to work with. Has to stop to get that Lotus. Meanwhile, Soft Moon onto the back line. Get themselves a nice kill. Found Axe. On the Ember has been found with the call though. Now Billsif will get chased down. You need to try and escape now on the rest of the Buyback Street Boys. Rex Cow, you can't run any further. The swap's still available. Maybe they're thinking about coming back in with a Blink Call. No way. Super Nintendo Chalmers is out of there.
Seeing a bit of delay. The Zeus ult, I wanted to see it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, why did he?
A little
Or
bit
maybe he was
earlier.
on cooldown. I don't know.
Could have
but
been.
Maybe they didn't think that Billsif was going to do so much damage to the Clockwork. Right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
realistically speaking, if you look at the Slark, the reason why it's a great pick this game is because they don't really have any AoE damage. The closest thing you have to it is Ember Spirit, like Flame Guard, Cogs damage, and Drow Ranger multi-shot. That's it. So in the Shadow Dance, he should mostly be fine. And we saw that catch Deckers off guard a little bit.
Blink
On
onto
the mid lane,
start.
Strilling again. Being fearless is good when you have a reason to die. This isn't one of those times though.
The axe of axe.
Bit too far forward there, Solo.
I mean, you also got to ask yourself what Strilling's plan was there, right? I feel like a lot of the times, the thing about Strilling is she has really good like game awareness and mechanical skill, but she specifically has a blind spot for like her own life. She tends to end up like going double-digit deaths despite having high impact in the fights. And like sometimes, honestly, games are lost off of her just dying one too many times.
I'll take that.
Especially on a hero like Clockwork, when you have yourself an early advantage, you can really push the issue, but you need to be careful not to give over that gold, because we saw even in the top lane engagement, Strilling was actually higher level than the Slark. But because you went down now, Slark's now level 13. So Slark, despite all the shit that he was eating in the early game, has now recovered at least in terms of EXP, even compared to your very, very powerful Dragon Knight.
I mean, Billsif is showing a level of confidence on Slark that I am nowhere near. some of these engagements, I'm like, that Slark's dead, but able to push the buttons at the right time to dispel, to jump out. This is what the hero wants to do.
Nice catch in the bot lane. They get themselves the kill. Soft Moon jumps on the back to find the poor Zeus. They're still trying to jump in for some action though. You might have just Caster's cursed him.
Yeah, I might have.
I'll be honest.
Need that Manta style. You were mentioning Manta style. Something to
I mean,
dispel.
not even Manta style. You just need maybe to consider the fact that you're 3v5 right now.
No, yeah.
And it,
Macro, micro, absolutely.
yeah, like, I don't know what that was. Like, what? Maybe he thought that he's gonna jump in, like he's standing there, and the Axe and the Warlock are gonna counter initiate, right? Because they have Call and they have the Fatal Bonds. So that could have been something, but
There's
how many bronze still with the swap?
there's just a set of heroes that, like, I was gonna say axe against Slark, but they're on the same team, so I'm not gonna finish that thought. Doesn't make sense.
Finish it. What do you mean?
There's
Like,
just some heroes that, like, Axe is the hero that you want to jump onto the pause one. And I feel like Slark would be one of those heroes that does not want to get Axe called. But similarly, like Clockwork, a blink from Dragonite can kind of have the same effect. Where it's like you just need to jump on that hero quickly, 0 to 100 to 0 them before they get that all their crazy escapes out.
yeah, I think the way that Deckers are playing this lineup inspires a lot more confidence, right? I feel like everybody on this team mostly knows their roles. The fact that the Ember and the DK are kind of going in while Strilling at times is using her hook shot a bit more defensively to stop the counter initiation, I think that's good. That's the key of every Drow lineup. It's kind of like the same thing as the Protect Your Mr. President like gyrocopter lineup, but it's a lot more dynamic, right? We're seeing them have a lot more openings and ways of getting in the fight. So I like that they fine-tuned it, because one of the issues from the previous draft was that you had a OD, you had a gyro. These are not two heroes that can kind of start things off, so you were really reliant, completely almost, on your Lion and on your Tiny. This game, they've split the load a bit more evenly, right? You have that swap, potentially aggressive or defensive, but Ember, Clock, DK, they can all go in for forfeits, which allows him to just be on the back line, farm it up, and we can see already that he is very nicely sitting on top of the net worth, 12k net worth right now, and closing up on that butterfly, which is going to be an insane timing. So at that point, you're not really threatened by the slug. The only thing you're really worried about is maybe some of this magic damage coming out still.
Speaking of that magic damage, I was looking around. Who's buying the pipe on the Deckers and not seeing any glimpses of it? Do have the Mage Slayer on the DK, which I think is crucial buy. But I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the amount of magic damage that the Dire team can put out.
Yeah, I would honestly like to see the Ember get a Mage Slayer as well. Because even though Embers don't go right click, you can apply that debuff to like literally everyone all at once. And that cuts the damage down by a significant margin. Like, it is going to be ridiculous how little damage they do to you. So, I don't know. I mean, right now, both teams just kind of biding their time on opposing ends of the map. Tormentor will go very easily to the Deckers though. I like what they've done this game though. They fine-tuned the script of their early game / bleeding into mid game. Now they just need to make sure when they're taking these team fights, it's a bit tighter.
It's a TP is coming out in the mid. They want to fight here. Strilling goes
hook shot in onto 3. Soulbind immediately counter initiates, but the DK gets caught by it. You get the first chop looking for the second. Soft Moon in big trouble. There's the swap. Axe Call not going to connect. 4 beats. He's rampaging on the backlines, but they haven't killed the hero yet. Forfeits. He's being hounded by the supports and he's not able to stand there and do the damage. 4 beats, trying to give his life over so that the Drow can right-click away, and in comes the counter initiation. Soft Moon there to stun, but the Drow still being chased away. The formation is completely broken on the Deckers. They jump in, Strilling gets caught, and Soft Moon takes way too much damage to be a factor. You've left way too much for the rest of the team to do, and I mean, that is not how that's supposed to go. So much for tightening up.
If this fight was going on 10 minutes later with Drow Butterfly intact, I could see it going differently, but you kind of just like, I don't know. It's just not quite there yet for the late game on the Deckers yet. The damage isn't quite there. I think the Dire just have this damage advantage going on early.
I just kind of feel like the way that they're taking these fights is like you jump in on the clockwork first. That's fine. But you don't need to blink into the cogs on the DK. You can just let the clockwork die and pick and choose your target afterwards. Because at that point, they use like fatal bonds, they use like everything. You can just slowly approach the fight. The rest of your team hasn't connected yet. And now you're sort of running into the Slug meat grinder. Hookshot is there. They'll meat grind up the Slug himself, though. Still able to get
What
the
a
Shadow Dance,
call.
but runs into the cogs. Meanwhile, backline, Fates is gonna kill himself on that Blade Mail. Big play so far from Super Nintendo Chalmers as the Battle Hunger is gonna finish off Beats. They had vision on the high ground. They're able to run him down. Meanwhile, Strilling still trying to find something. Dragonite's gonna get called again. Super Nintendo Chalmers stacking up those Battle Hungers with the fresh new shard. Gets himself another chop. And we're seeing such high impact from this Axe player, honestly.
Yeah, this is the kind of presence you want in your pause 3. Being able to sit in the solid game, the mid game, just directing these fights.
I mean, whoever he calls literally will die. And I think that this is something that deckers were supposed to be insured against, right? You have that swap that's meant as a countermeasure to this exact play. We just haven't seen it come out that way, and I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, because we see that deckers clearly have the tools, but they are just not using those tools in a way that will benefit them the most. Like, what do you gain out of fighting up into that high ground that when your Venge has already died?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not sure if they had the vision there before the fight started, but that may be something that tempted them into it early, but I don't think their draft
they just
is
thought,
quite,
okay, I think they just thought, oh, we killed the Slug. Surely we win this fight.
saying it's
and
the
that's
Zeus.
about
It's
it,
the
right?
secret Zeus damage that they don't have quite enough resistance against.
Yeah.
I mean, once
looking towards that
the
pressure.
the soul bonds goes out, fatal bonds plus all the Zeus damage that comes out, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's disgusting. They need dispels, they need that pipe. Strilling's working on it now. But they're invading the very same area in the dire jungle. Strilling's gonna find them. This is a good way to die on Strilling. Breaking this smoke. It's fine.
I mean, this is dire territory. They've
Yeah, at this point.
firmly asserted themselves there.
I also really dislike the itemization from Vengeful Spirit. I feel like you pick this hero, like if you can get away with it, and you don't need any other item, you go straight for the axe. Like there's no, this Yules doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't save your allies, it doesn't really save you because you come back down and die anyway.
Yeah, like if you need to not disarm, I guess when the axe call jumps, swap is an option to kind of prevent all the damage from that. Like
Yeah.
I understand the
Because
temptation.
it's not even just the X call, right? Like it's
Yeah.
everything else that's being thrown on you once you get called. So Yules isn't gonna save you.
Radiant has lost their
I don't know.
top
It's a
tower.
bit strange. I mean, the Venge maybe sort of misunderstanding a little bit that she can very much die in the fights if she's already casted all her spells.
Yeah, yeah. It's an awkward position. Like Venge
Yeah.
support always feels awkward in this sense. Axe going in with a blink. It doesn't quite connect on Sterling. Hogs comes out. Bit of a touch there, but not a full-on fight initiated.
I would like to see like the Radiant side play to this high ground vision. They have a drow. This is like the most classic thing ever. As long as you can keep your formation, the drow will be able to do the damage. I was talking about this drow going towards a butterfly so nicely, but we're seeing the same things happen again, right? Like the carry being stunted by taking part in these fights and making bad decisions in terms of positioning, and now you're still just now completing it. Maybe this power spike will allow them to make a move. I feel like deckers haven't really made any moves this game. They've just mostly responded. I would love to see them like smoke out and try and set up an area ready for a fight, but instead it always feels like they're the ones on the back foot. And there are 2 wards in the triangle that their 1 sentry didn't catch.
Yeah, that's. Oh,
There we go. Okay, there we go. That's what you like to see. That's something.
Power Rangers is kind of hero that doesn't have the luxury of, I guess, like the fight situation needs to be ideal for this hero to be able to do what it does.
I think the only way of like maneuvering Drow is you just have to be hyper aware of positioning, which is why I didn't really like it on Fates, because I think the one thing that he's not is aware of positioning. We saw in so many of the fights in the previous game, he would just kind of blink in and overestimate how much damage he could survive, and he'd just die. And you run out of impact from your mid so quickly. It's like, what the hell do I do now? I don't have an OD, you know?
Well, they did see that smoke underneath the Watcher there. Not
I mean,
sure
Drow's
they're-
gonna get caught if she's not careful.
Yeah, not sure whether. I mean, guess
Yeah, this is...
what's going out.
Like, there's one team that's on the high ground, and there's one team that's on the low ground, and the low ground team is the Drow team. So your Drow's just gonna die.
Yeah.
She's still desperately trying to get out, but now the Zeus is auto-attacking her. Softmoon's gonna walk back up just to make sure that Soulbind connects back onto your carry. They're just passing this Soulbind around like a disease. It's a full team wipe. It looks so easy for them.
Yeah. The choice to walk up that high ground when this area here has just been a killing field. It's, I mean, Drow needs to play from the high ground.
I'm actually so confused because like Strilling walks up to the high ground. There's a slug that immediately pops Shadow Dance BKB. That is the biggest signal for you to get the fuck on out of there. You know, like you're not doing shit. You didn't find the Grim, you didn't find the Warlock, you're about to get control. And it's like, they take that fight again with Beats only really contributing at the tail end only to die. Same situation for Soft Moon where they haven't really been able to use how strong this Dragon Knight has been in the early game to their advantage. I don't know, it's weird. It's like I'm watching the same shit different font, you know?
In their own perspectives.
They're closing in on that pipe. I'm not sure if it's going to come in time for a high ground defense.
I mean, at this point, it's like such a late thing, right? Like
Yeah.
at this point, they do so much damage. I don't even know whether it's gonna matter. This slug has scaled up big time, and even in that previous fight, honestly, Giga Chat play from the Zeus. Did you see him standing there and right clicking the? That was like the hell. This guy does not give a shit. He'll die for the cause. I respect it.
Yeah, has a refresher and eggs. Like this Zeus is.
He's cooking. He's cooking. I kind of think the decision not to go for like a Hurricane Pike or something on this Drow is like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think your build this game on the Drow is like Manta, Hurricane Pike, BKB. And like if you are doing well enough, you squeeze the eggs in there somewhere for the DPS, right? But the Butterfly is so insanely greedy. Because damage is not your problem, bro. You guys haven't even taken a fight that you want to take.
What's the thinking around eggs on Drow? Like it's a damage ad, but it's a little more of an AoE damage ad.
Yeah, I think Drow Agonyms is absurdly good into the slot specifically because of the regen reduction. It also goes a long way into the Axe, right? Because you're looking at the Shadow Work, you're looking at a very tanky target. I think overall, it's a good item to get if you can fit it into your build. But this game, I just kind of once again feel like the deckers have cooked up a draft that on paper, when you look at the components, it's kind of like you're from America, right? You like, I don't know, what's like a classic American dish?
Oh, I'm from Canada. I just want to make that distinction.
Okay, yeah, okay, very important distinction.
Very important distinction.
Okay, Canada, like let's say you go to like, I don't know, like you get like, if you have flour, if you have maple syrup, if you have baking soda, you think, okay, this guy's gonna make some pancakes. But then they throw an egg into the syrup, mix it up, bake it, stir it around, chop it up, and then they take a shit in it, and then they're like, this is what we have. And it's like, yo, that's not... I gave you all the ingredients for success. You think they're gonna do that, And then instead you have this shit where Soft Moon solo pushing the tower.
Yeah, looking a bit disjointed at the moment. We're gonna have DK go down. Solo right under the tier 2 tower that you don't really have that map control to do that.
Yeah, you have no vision. Wait, let me... I think... Try pressing F2.
Did nothing?
Okay, sorry. I think maybe... Yeah, no, because I was gonna try and show like the radiant vision, but the point I'm making is they don't see shit.
I don't know how to do that. Wait, F2?
No, it's fine, it's fine. It's like a config thing. It's a config
Radiant's
thing.
middle tower is being attacked.
Because you got like the smooth ass camera, so I thought you had that.
If I turn that off, no.
No more middle tower for Radiant.
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. I mean, the point we're trying to make is that it's miserable out here for the deckers, right? It's a slut on your high ground with an Aegis right now.
Yeah, with an
That's
amp
the
damage.
absolute state of this game.
X jump in.
Did they just kill the Drow?
No, BKB. There's the blade
Oh.
mail. That's the blade mail. That's
Yeah.
It
Oh,
kinda
sorry, that
shuts
wasn't the
down.
Drow. Sorry, her and the Venge looked a bit similar. Not gonna lie.
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
Yeah, but that is just refresher. Venge is dead. And you didn't even need to use any of your other ultimates, but they still back off out of respect. Just because the Dragon Knight's back up, I guess.
yeah. 50 seconds left on Aegis. I'm surprised they didn't press that a little further.
Yeah. Might be showing discipline. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna be mad at that, you know?
No, I have many times stayed way too long at the foot of their high ground.
The foot of the high ground is a dangerous ass place, bro. Motherfuckers die there all the goddamn time. The Super Nintendo Chalmers,
They're
he
looking
might have
good.
stayed himself a bit too long. He is ridiculously tanky though, because like, my goodness, he's inflicting damage.
His solo
Okay,
there,
good
like,
pick off. That's huge. That's kind of huge. The big gold swing, like almost 1.3k.
Oh yeah. Yeah, in the last 10
It's like it
minutes.
actually makes a dent. Like it's starting to come out if you see the tail end of the graph. Okay. Game's not over for the deckers. They are just in a position where we haven't really seen them successfully take a fight that they want. But the items are still coming up in a big way on Buyback Street Boys, right? You have your Abyssal into Disperser being completed on the slot. Your Warlock is looking at finishing up an Aghanim's. Your Zeus is finishing up an Octarine. So this is by no means an easy fight to take. I do feel like if you're able to play the map, try and find these pickoffs with the swap or the Ember or the hook shot, you could carve your way back, yourself a way back into the game though.
Yeah. They do have the high ground, they do have the drow. I mean, this is still anybody's game.
Yeah.
Going for the Agnum Scepter on Warlock. This is the classic Warlock late game brewing up. Never something to be underestimated.
No. We already talked about it, right? Double Fatal Bonds is like, is shitting on them. Like,
Yeah.
if he gets that shit off, they are done.
Drilling and oh bear. Hitting each other. This is the same face-off we saw in the laning stage, but who's
Alright, so
gonna
what the hell?
gonna back down? Who's gonna back down? Nobody. It goes. This is a
Try and
full
bait.
team fight.
Nice silence onto 2, but the BKB immediately pops. Slot going to work, and the Soulbind onto 2. That's not what you want to see. You can't swap her out if you're chained up together. One chop, looking at the second. They've got the control onto Soft Moon. The Axe is not even going to make it there. 4 heroes drop. And where's Yamba in that fight? I didn't see him at all.
Mr. doing a good job to just like coax out a fight there. And going in the way of Dire, and that fight certainly is matched the trend.
I just don't know why Radiant thinks they should take a fight there.
Yeah.
Radiant's top tower is under siege. Radiant's top tower is false.
I think this Axe is beasting. Honestly, he's like my MVP this game. He's doing so well. The itemization's on point as well. He's got his team cooked up with the auras.
That's gonna
I
be
love a
racks
carry
down.
that's not scared of buying BKB, by the way. This is the second game where we're seeing Bilsif like tech in for that item second or third.
Yeah.
And like it's gone such a long way for him.
The temptation is there on Slark to be like, oh, I've got my Depth Shroud, I've got my ultimate. I even got 2 leaps.
Yeah, like what's the big idea, right? Here's the swap to save. Rolls up though. And you're just kind of finding yourself in the soulbind again. This Grimstroke has been their despair for real. Like this guy is a thorn in their side, a thorn in their face, a thorn in their backside. Everywhere you look, the Grimstroke soulbind comes for you. Look at the stacks on this slot. Holy shit. He's still 26 edge, like 78 edgy right now.
This is it, the
Thomas?
Blade Mail. He just kind of can't put out the damage to get them off their high ground.
Tower is being attacked.
Nope.
Crimson
He's still got
Guard,
the
the
Warlock
pipe.
constantly healing as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is getting close to GG territory, I want to say. I think once this Dragon Knight, like, form runs out, the Dire can just make another go, and even though you have 5 heroes, technically you got 4.5, right? Because your DK is not doing quite as much damage. Nice dispel there from Obear with his shot. Just immediately purges. This is something that we didn't talk about. The Grimstroke, a hero that we don't see very often anymore. Like, with that shot, you Inkswell Dispel. So it used to be like you could activate the Dispel. That's why he somewhat got like snuffed out of the scene. Back when you can just activate the Dispel and the detonation whenever you want. That was clean. Because you could
Yeah.
save it for when your ally was like taking a shit ton of
That's
debuffs and then
I always go the other facet, the control of your
the fine art.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
part of it's like mechanically, I don't want to switch back and forth because it just breaks my brain.
Yeah, I get you.
But, like,
I mean, the fine
instigate-
art is arguably the harder one to use anyway.
Tower is being attacked.
I see the value of being able to just detonate your dispel on command.
I mean, that's kind of why they... It will be strange to me if they pick the fine art this game, because long-range nuke is not what they need, right? They just need that additional like follow-up stun for the axe or for the slot. That's about it. So being able to like just press a button and almost like have an aphotic shield dispel on your slot, like that's kind of what makes him so hard to kill right now. Yeah, like you see, the second he throws it out, it's just the slot's just running free, and you have that on a 10-second cooldown. It's crazy. So, like we were talking about how Chain Gang would be kind of annoying, but you've reached a point in the game where the cooldown's low enough on Dark Pack, and you have the Inkswell to back you up. These are all very major factors that keep Bilsif slippery and impossible to kill, it feels like.
And the BKB.
Yeah, true.
The dutiful
Didn't
BKB.
even mention that.
Yeah.
And the Depth Shroud, and the Shadow Dance, and the 2 Pouncers, and the Disperser,
Yeah, you said
and the
it.
counter initiation from the Warlock, from the Grimstroke, from the Axe.
It's a
and
good
the
Slark
auras?
game. It's a good
Bro.
Slark game.
Rock it on.
I'm trying to take advantage of the fact they know Strilling's gonna be aggressive and poke her head in.
Thinking
That's caught
about
out
it.
by the... Yeah, I mean, immediately, I think she's starting to recognize that they're just picking on her in a way, right? Like, they know she's gonna try for these plays, so as soon as they see a flare, they're like, okay, just get out of the pit, Strilling's gonna try for something. But they've chased the pesky Clockwork away. This should be a very easy Roach grab for Mr. Bilsif. There you go. Honestly, some really nice Dota being played by Backstreet Boys. I like what I'm seeing. I thought Strilling was out. Strilling's still gonna get caught here, I think. Okay. Well, there's that. Super Nintendo Chalmers with what feels like the bajillionth dunk of this game. 12-3 and 15. What a scoreline.
Yeah. Not looking dire for Dire. Looking good for the buyback boys is always gonna trip on my tongue. The buyback.
Yeah, I
Street
keep
boys.
saying buyback boys, like, and I miss out the street. Either that or I just feel like I want to say Backstreet Boys and then I miss
Yeah.
out the buy and I feel like an idiot.
Exactly.
That's how you know it's a good ass name though.
Yeah,
to be fair.
yeah, absolutely.
Alright. Last hurrah here for the Deckers. They are getting flattened at the moment. Soft Moon's gonna pop that Dragon Form, thinking about initiation, but it's Super Nintendo Chalmers beating him to the punch. On the backline, 4 beats is gonna look for some action, starting the chains up. He's gotta watch himself though. The slot can keep him very much in place. Billsif taking a lot of damage. The Shadow Dance still gonna come out. That Nimbus is in an uncomfortable position. Slot able to steal a decent amount of stats and turn back towards the Ember. Still had a safety remnant. Oh, but finds himself still cooked up in the soup. Oh, you ain't got move speed, and the call's coming out. Swap is there. Comedy Bronze trying to bail out his carry, but the thing is, 4 Fates just can't do the damage. Soft Moon's doing his best on the sidelines. Buyback there from the Ember to try and salvage this situation. But, I mean, now you got 2 golems beating away on your racks. You don't even need the Slark in the picture. He's still got their Aegis to work with. Second Shadow Dance coming through, stealing away the stats. Someone's got to keep this pesky fish off their heroes. He's going to drop the first time. Surrounded on all fronts, the supports are starting to take some damage here, but RIP, he is delivering the lightning hand, shocking everybody. Zeus will go down, but he trades out with the Ember on his buyback, and that will be 114 seconds without your mid. The heals coming out from Rexcal, they have no need to retreat. They might just do it out of discipline again. Super Nintendo Chalmers still in front of the base. The end is right in front of him and he can smell it. This will be a great first week opening, but he's gonna back up. He's been caught before, he knows not to risk it.
My mind's blanking. Who won the first game?
Middle tower is taking
Unfortunately, it is Buyback Street Boys, so we are looking at a 2-0 potentially.
I mean, I don't like to call it early GG, but
Yeah, it's not looking too hot.
31k
They just
net
really-
worth lead.
Yeah, they just haven't really activated their drow, right? Like 2 games in a row, you pick a carry that I feel like you're not enabling hard enough. It's just tough. I really, really love this slot last pick. I think it does everything for them. 2-man call, nice swap in.
Swap, yeah.
You could have maybe swapped in the slot, or maybe even the axe, but kind of gets everyone back to safety, but allows Billsif to just steal a bajillion stats again. He's currently working with 69 agility stolen. Desperately trying to hang on to this base, call off the mark because Super Nintendo Chalmers believe his blink got cancelled by who knows what. Shot comes in, Strilling trying to set up for the team again. Jetpack not gonna get you away from the pounds though. Billsif punching away, BKB is there. Physical damage overwhelming the Slark. He's gone a bit too deep. Strilling there with the buyback. They could catch out this poor Super Nintendo Chalmers axe. Wind Waker to try and get himself out of here. You got a Cogs. Fates. He's gonna get caught by the double Nimbus. Buyback there on the Drow. The backline snipe. It's clean from the Zeus. And now Soft Moon has to run for the hills as Super Nintendo Chalmers. You are looking for me. I'm looking for you.
Mecha creeps coming in.
2 golems being dropped. Looking at the Ancient. Deckers have to do everything they can just to peel these creeps off. All 4 heroes fully committed here to trying to defend against the creeps. 1 more minute until the start comes out. No reason to force the issue here. The other side of Buyback Street Boys, you can just take the high road, chill out for a little bit. Come back in 1 fell swoop.
You do not give up. You do not give up at this point. I've seen games turn around from worse than this.
Yeah? You think they can come back, potentially? That would be crazy,
It'll
though.
take some time. They have some towers and buildings to go through. Don't give up.
Okay. You heard it here first. Not a moment to give up, a moment to stand together and show them your staunch resilience.
Yeah. I mean, Drow is in the late game stage. His hero does do damage. Has a BKB. Lots to threaten her, but I mean, if they can get their spells off just right, if they can get the avenge swaps and keep the Drow alive to be able to hopefully capitalize on even the slightest whiffs that might come.
All I'm saying is the second this Drow gets a Hurricane Pike, the game changes. Because why she's dying now is because she can't get herself out of trouble. She has to fully rely on just that swap and like walking out of 2 Nimbuses, we've seen that be a major problem. Speaking of being a problem, Strilling gets caught out pushing the wave. And that's a dieback for the Clockwork. Bit of save your buddy syndrome now. Swap used to get out Soft Moon. But the Drow, she needs to watch herself. Able
yeah.
to stand and deliver. This is pretty nice. Bilsif has found her on a little glacier. Has to get down from there. The Pounce forcing the BKB out. They're thinking about going back in on the slot, but he still has that depth shot to work with.
Rest of the team
Stun.
coming in.
The damage, it's stacking up. The slug's gonna explode. You still find the call, though. That's what the use was for. Comedy Bronze lifts up the axe, but he can't keep the Drow away. You needed a Hurricane Pike. No buyback available. Now Soft Moon, he's come back in to try and salvage this game, but the two golems as well as the Zeus just beating into him. He's got nowhere to run. The heroes are all running out of resources as Comedy Bronze hounded back into the base. The Ember will allow one last slight. He's not gonna die, but his Ancient's gonna fall, and it's a 2-0 for Buyback Street Boys here in week 1 of WLDL.
Well played, both teams. I mean, a little bit more decisive, I guess, in the second game. We didn't see the same kind of back and forth fights that we did in the first.
Yeah. I think game 2 was kind of interesting as well because in the first maybe 15-20 minutes of the game, I think we saw a really marked improvement from the Deckers, right? They were able to actually get that advantage, get a lot of kills, make the right moves, but then it was around that Tom fight again where they kind of fumbled. Once these heroes on Buyback Street Boys start coming together, it feels like connecting in a meaningful way and converting that into an advantage on the Deckers is something they struggle with. So hopefully, maybe it's Juvu that they're missing, right? The Juvu glue.
Yep. He needs to come back. End his honeymoon
Please
early.
come back, Juvu. Please, Juvu, come back.
I mean, great jumps by Super Nintendo Chalmers. You were saying it that the axe was just playing out of his mind, and
Yeah.
Crimson Guard like pipe, like that's just gives such a foundation to the team that we just saw the Deckers just didn't quite have the damage to be able to win these team fights.
Yeah. I think Super Nintendo Chalmers was a POS 1 player for a long while also. I think, in fact, he might be a main POS 1 player. So you can see that somewhat reflected in his ability to get farm, right? Even though he went for the Blink first into Aura items, he's still doing exceptionally well, just amassing his net worth, maintaining relevance. You never really see him be a non-factor in these games. And it's going a very long way because you compare that to something like, I want to say, the Ember Spirit in this game and the OD in the previous game, like you start dying a few times and then suddenly you're dropping off the face of the earth in terms of relevance and net worth. You reach a point at the end of the game where if you look at the player net worth, the supports are chalking up to your net worth. Like look at like past 40 minutes. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
The supports are like 3k off you, like, and your core that's supposed to have been farming the whole game. It's just not great.
It's successful fight after successful fight from the Buyback Street Boys that I think it's just kind of steadily moved them through a win into this game. I want to point out like the strat of both Gyrocopter and Drow, and that you kind of have to have your positioning just almost too perfect for it to succeed. I mean, I think
it's a bit less of the gyro, right? Because the gyro, they just kind of turned that gyro game into that game plan. Because gyro can be part of early fights. They just didn't bring him in. So they seem to have some sort of leaning towards this kind of like protect your Mr. President POS 1 strategy, but they don't really know like what kind of moves they need to make to pull it off. That's kind of what it feels like for me.
Yeah, Slark kind of having the freedom to not have to so heavily rely on saves. Even just being the point of contact and getting initiated on. We see it a few times where it's just it looked bleak a little bit, but as soon as they're able to get out, I mean everything the Buyback Street Boys has to follow up is it's just too overwhelming. I'm not. I always see DK4 or DK3s. It makes me itchy. DK3s makes me itchy because I
Itchy
think
in what sense?
Comparing like Axe to a DK, you can see how Axe doesn't need a lot to just have so much presence in that sort of like 15 to 25-minute mark. Where DK, I mean, Blink first item like Mage Slayer, you have presence, and certainly Soft Moon did well. Like 9 and 2, 20 minutes in, was providing the sort of the momentum for the team. But
I
you
genuinely think this game you go blink, pipe BKB on your DK. And like this looks this looks so different because then your Ember and your supports are actually surviving these fights. You go pipe, so your Clockwork doesn't have to spend a bajillion years farming it. And then your Venge goes X, and this game like is just a completely different story.
yeah, Pipe didn't come out till 39 minutes, and it's definitely an item that I think would have helped them if it came out sooner. But overall, like great 2 games. Great start to the tournament. Oh man, I got a game in 4 hours. I gotta get my brain into to play
Nice.
mode. But
Yeah. Queue a pub or something. But overall, I think both teams showing, like, even though I am extremely critical, both teams showing like different little strengths, right? Even without their main pos 3 player, I really liked some moments that I saw from the Deckers. I do think Buyback Street Boys are showing themselves to be the better team today by a long shot, though. So many games down the line that we probably will see from the Deckers, hopefully they can start to like firm up these ideas that they have about how they want to execute.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. It's first week of the tournament. I mean, we've got plenty of weeks ahead of us. Plenty of time for each team to kind of discover themselves and discover each other.
Yeah. More to discover in the next few weeks, inshallah.
Thanks. Thank you for casting. This is great. I mean,
Yeah. Hopefully I didn't. I think I talked way too much, but
I
I,
appreciate your energy. I'm sure the viewers appreciating your energy as well. Yeah. And you're not playing in the tournament this year.
yeah, no, I'm committed to casting mode. Like when my schedule allows, I'm gonna try and hop on to cast as much as possible.
Well, I'll always be happy to have you back. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for everyone
Thank you.
watching. Hope you're enjoying. Stay tuned more for more WLD action in the weeks to come. And yeah, GG's everyone.
GG.